and candles and so much more. Follow Zen's Antiques and Home Decor on Facebook for new items and information on upcoming events. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor in Building 2 at 3391 National Pike in Farmington. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor.
Chris Parker Jr., Trick or Treat is over. What's going on at Autoland?
Treats continue here at Autoland with 0% for 60 months on all 25 Tucsons and Santa Fe's.
0% for 60 months?
That's right, 0% for 5 years on the award-winning all-wheel drive Tucson and Santa Fe's with third-row seating, plus 0% on the hybrid Tucson and Santa Fe's. Don't want 0% financing? Choose HMF Bonus Cash up to $4,500 on Santa Fe's. Winter weather is coming. Now's the time to get your all-wheel drive SUV with 0% financing and have a vehicle big enough for the family and hauling gifts. Did you know Hyundai is also the most awarded brand by the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety for the past 2 years?
And every new Hyundai purchase includes Hyundai Assurance, America's Best warranty, 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain protection, and 3-year free complimentary maintenance. Autoland Hyundai, downtown Uniontown, or online at AutolandHyundai.com.
And you always pay less to drive the best at Autoland Hyundai.
You may have noticed a new internet company knocking at your door with claims like, "I'm not here to sell you anything," or "I wouldn't lie to you." The truth is, Armstrong has played an important role in your community for decades, and we're not going anywhere. That new internet provider will probably change their name, get bought out by another company, or fold completely. Armstrong, the internet you count on, the people you trust. Visit ArmstrongOneWire.com today or anytime in the future.
They're all coming to your house again for the holidays. Your favorite aunt and uncle from out of town. Friends from across the state. Remember last Thanksgiving when Joe seemed to eat more turkey and stuffing than the chair could support? Remember when the table legs seemed to cry out with all the food weighing it down? Wouldn't it be nice to enjoy a hearty dinner amongst all your family and friends while sitting around a charming dining set from Chesler's Fine Furniture and not having to hold your breath every time someone sits down? Chesler's can make it all possible with a wide variety of graceful and pleasing styles that will offer elegance for your dining area. If you are looking for a formal set, select a two-tone gray and oak set, sale priced at $19.99 with a matching buffet at $12.99. Maybe you just need a small 5-piece set. They are priced starting at $5.99. Chesler's has a large selection of 3, 5, and 7-piece sets ready for immediate delivery. Credit terms and delivery are available. Chesler's Fine Furniture, where customers send their friends.
It's the Afternoon Drive Show on your local station, WMBS Uniontown. I'm Doug Saltzman, the host. That's Thin Nick Barczyk over there producing the show. Those of you who have heard us talking about Nick's remarkable weight loss all through exercise and good eating.
I know. What a crazy concept.
It's good that you're doing it. And, of course, there's drugs that are available to help you lose weight, too. You're doing it the other way, whatever works for people. Mm-hmm. Metabolism is much different at your age, Nick, so it's good that you're doing it now.
Absolutely. I agree. So, thank you, Doug. I appreciate it.
You are now thinner than me.
Well, it's not a contest. It's not a competition.
It is, actually.
Life isn't. No, well, if you want to see it like that.
We should let our listeners know this is only an exhibition. This is not a competition.
That's right.
Please, no wagering.
That's right, no wagering. I approve of sports betting for, NFL games, not for Doug and Nick's Phantom Weight Loss Challenge. We're not really doing that, but
you lost a lot more than me. I was at 227. I'm now down to 201.
Wow.
Although I was down to 192, but it goes up and down.
Yeah, it goes up and down. I'm in the 190s. The holidays are coming up, so
and don't ruin the holidays by telling people, "Oh, I can't eat the fruit cake or whatever it is."
Well, I'm definitely not eating fruit cake.
What is it? What am I thinking of? What do people give out on holidays?
I think it is fruit cake.
Fruit cake, yeah.
It's
Nobody
awful.
eats
I've
it.
never had it.
It weighs like 14 pounds.
No, if there's a pecan pie or a pumpkin pie, maybe.
I won't eat any pecan pie.
Is that right?
I'm allergic.
All nuts or just pecans?
Pecans, walnuts.
Oh, my God. You have a peanut allergy?
I don't have a peanut allergy.
Are you like the majority of 8-year-olds in America?
Pecan and walnuts. No, I eat peanut butter by the pound.
Oh, well, that's probably why
on
you're
white bread.
It's probably why you're in the 200s, Doug. No.
You'd
be 180 if it weren't for bread.
Don't start lecturing me. It's like a former smoker.
Exactly.
I find former smokers annoying, and I don't even smoke. For
It's
heaven's
true.
sake.
I find former smokers more annoying than blowing smoke in my face. Yeah,
That's right. Yeah, I secondhand half a pack a day.
that's right, Jerry. Another Seinfeld reference. 2 minutes in.
That's right. And
Back when people really smoked a lot. New York in the 90s. My God.
well, now you walk around New York, it smells like marijuana.
That's
for crying
true.
out loud.
And it's a great smell. Now, the effects of weed are great, not the smell. I have to admit. That's why I'm an edible man. I'm kidding. Are we on the air?
We are on the air.
Yeah.
By the way, we've got some budgets being resolved.
Thank God.
Nationally, Governor Shapiro signed a budget into law that increased spending by the billions and has deficit spending. I don't know how much that is to celebrate. They have to draw money from what's called the Rainy Day Fund. It actually has an official name. They don't actually call it the Rainy Day Fund.
Rainy Day Fund sounds cooler.
It does sound hip. And
Save it for. I won't even go into it.
I can't. Don't start singing
Now that
November
I'm-
Rain.
That's
either.
right.
Okay.
Now that I'm thin, I can sing. Is that what you were going to say? You can't sing because you're thin?
That's right.
Yeah.
November Rain. Great song, by the way. I was
That's
listening to
right.
it on the way here.
Were you really
Yes.
hoping for it to rain?
No.
They have rain day in Waynesburg. When is that? That's in
usually in
June,
the spring,
I believe.
isn't it?
I think
Yeah.
Rick Seaback was the guest of honor
I
once.
think I think Rick Seaback has rightfully so been the guest of honor just about everywhere. For something or anything.
He was at the Pittsburgh Walk of Fame. And by the way, did you see Michael Keaton's name was
They
misspelled?
spelled his name wrong.
By the way, Michael, not Keaton. That's the name I thought would be misspelled.
They misspelled
Michael. Oh, my
I
Lord.
guess they have the star, and I guess his name was spelled right there, but then there's a little plaque below it that talks about his career, and they spelled Michael wrong.
Yeah, it went out on the wires. It was national news. And I'm sure-
MICH is an E before A except after L or
Yeah,
something.
I mean, I always thought Michael was MICHAEL. I don't know how you could screw that up, but people make mistakes.
That's okay. These mistakes can be
It
made.
wasn't Rick's fault. Yeah.
It was, he was just the MC for the event. I think that the best all time that happened, there was a special tribute to Martin Luther King, and they were, no, I can't think of his name. Who was Darth Vader? Help me
James
here.
Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones was at this event, and they had a special plaque to commemorate his being
Oh,
there.
I know where this is going.
And instead of it saying James Earl Jones, it said James Earl Ray.
The man who murdered Martin Luther King.
Yeah, could anything have been a bigger mistake
That's
than
awful.
that?
I mean, it's funny in a sick way.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's just, can you imagine what that
Awful.
was like when they
Oh.
unveiled that?
And our good friend Lanny famously mixed those two up when he got a news bulletin on the air that
Right.
James Earl Ray died. He wanted to do a whole thing. If Lanny wouldn't mind us telling this, he's talked about it. He said, "Oh, what a sad day it is for baseball. James Earl Jones, Field of Dreams, has died." And Bob Walk, when they go to break, and Bob said, "Lanny, it was James Earl Ray who
Right.
died." And Lanny said that was his worst moment on the air. So we had to bring that up. Good luck, Lanny, doing volleyball Friday.
think-
We're rooting for you.
Just think how bad that must have been, considering he was on our show once in a while.
Absolutely.
And those aren't his worst days. But
And we can point out other people's faults because we make them constantly. So
right, and we, as Lanny mentioned during our interview with him last week, he is for the first time ever doing play-by-play for volleyball.
he seems genuinely anxious and nervous.
He seemed pretty nervous about it. West Virginia women's volleyball, which will be on ESPN2. And normally we don't encourage people, to watch TV instead of listen to the station, but that's not going to be on while I'm on the air.
Go ahead. And we're not airing any sports Friday night.
So what do
maybe
I-
like the only Friday of the year we don't have sports.
Yeah, really, no sports.
No, football's done. I don't think there's a college game we can pick up. So maybe there's like a 8th grade tournament going on
Interesting.
somewhere in South Union Township. We'll pick up.
Later today, we'll be talking with retired Army Major Mike Lyons about Veterans Day. He wasn't able to join us yesterday because he was at a special reception at West Point. In West Point, the men's basketball team was playing Duke.
Duke just squeaked by. Just squeaked
114
by.
to 59, I think. I
Yeah.
think that's called running up the score.
If it were a football game, Army may have won, but Duke is a basketball school.
Number
so-
2 in the country
Yeah.
right now. Yeah, you don't hear much about Duke's football team.
No, you do not. You do not.
Back in Connecticut, UConn, you don't hear about their football team
Do
much.
they even have one? I don't know. Some schools don't even have football.
I think-
Villanova, Marquette, some schools that have great basketball programs.
I think they do. Big game, Pitt. Notre Dame is sold out this weekend.
I think some students were already camping out for that one.
No doubt.
Game day is starting their setup at 6 a.m. I saw going on the air at
Game
8:30.
day, which is on
ESPN.
ESPN,
That's the
that's right.
big show that goes around the colleges.
exactly.
Yeah.
There's lunatics standing behind him, screaming and yelling.
I guess
so.
if you're 19, it's fun.
Why not?
At our age, we're too old for that. You certainly are. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
Go down and
I
scream
won't
if you
be on
want.
somebody's shoulders waving.
Yeah, hey!
Hi, Mom.
Your daughters would be mortified, Doug.
That's right. It's tough enough when I show up. When I sneeze in public, it's mortifying for my daughters, let alone something like that. Hey, we're going to be checking in here with the man with the best radio voice in the business, Christopher Cruz, will be joining shortly, talking about what was the government shutdown. I guess technically it's still the government shutdown in Washington, but we'll get information from him coming up here in just a few moments. And then, we're going to move on. We got a whole show with you tonight. We were hoping to talk to local state senators or state rep about the budget issue. We'll get them on next week. That news came down just late this afternoon that the governor passed the legislation into law. So we'll be hopefully checking in with them next week. But a full show tonight going late. We're going to check in with our friends from the Commonwealth Foundation, from AP NORC. So a good show. As Nick's got a strange look on his face over there, Nick. What seems to be the problem?
He's breaking up a bit, but we'll try. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Hey, we can't have the best voice in radio breaking up.
We don't want that.
Sakes. Joining us right now on the WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital talk line, the voice, as he's known throughout the industry, Christopher Cruz. Christopher, thank you very much for joining us today. How are you?
Well, thank you. We're in the rock solid CBS News Bureau in Washington, and sometimes our cell phones don't work as well as you'd want them to. So I hope I don't break up.
You sound good so far.
Sound great.
We always joke about that. I was talking earlier today with a friend of mine who's in Geneva, and it was like she was across the street. I called my daughter 2 miles away. We couldn't hear each other. Wow. So you never know what's going to happen on that one. But it looks like something's happening in Washington when it comes to the budget. Pennsylvania's been hit with a double whammy. Our state budget is since July 1st has been late. It just got signed into law today by Governor Shapiro. It looks like there might be a budget for the president to sign soon. What's the latest?
Right. Our folks are telling us we're expecting a vote around final passage around 7 o'clock. So what are we, like 90 minutes away from the shutdown ending? And then, of course, it'll immediately be brought to President Trump, and he has indicated he'll sign it. And I'm glad you brought it up, because so much has been focused on the government shutdown and not really enough on just what is in the budget. What's in the budget bill. It's interesting. We're not talking about that at all.
No, that doesn't seem to be the case. I think about the days when I worked for the U.S. Senate, back when they would pass individual appropriations bills from each subcommittee of the appropriations. My boss was chairman of the Health and Human Services subcommittee. They would pass a budget dose. I can't remember the last time that the budget process worked in D.C. as the budget process is supposed to work. 20 years?
Yeah, I
is that
know.
an exaggeration?
No, it could be. I mean, I know it's inside baseball, but and John McCain, Senator McCain, used to talk about, let's get to regular order, and it just never seems to come. There was a time when you could get bipartisan agreement on 95% of the budget, but now everything is a political battle here. Everything.
Yeah, it shouldn't shock us that politicians act political, but there was a time when they could get some work done once in a while. Wasn't always. Sometimes it was in an elevator or walking from one conference committee meeting to another, but it did get done. And this one, it's not as if this budget is a full budget going into the end of the fiscal year, which would be September 30th. How long will this last?
Well, that's a good question. I'm going to look at the details. I don't know if this is just extended by a few months or what. I keep hearing end of January, but this, as we know, ultimately they're going to go right back to work on another budget for another fiscal year. So it's almost as if this doesn't exist, and we're just moving on and moving on and moving on. It's frustrating, I guess, is what you'd say.
Yeah, no doubt. The politics influences everything. The election did not go well for Republicans last week, and suddenly budgets are passing. So you never know if those have the influence or not. In Pennsylvania, for instance, the budget's finally passed in November. The governor will make his budget presentation in January, February for the next fiscal year. So it
never ends. And it's interesting. You and I have enough age on us that we remember there was a time where there were moderate Republicans and moderate Democrats, the so-called center. I'm originally from Maine, and we had there were partisans there, but we had moderates, and to some extent, Senator Collins is moderate. But those moderates have basically been forced out of elective office, and now you have ultra partisans on the left and on the right.
Yeah, absolutely. I worked for U.S. Senator Arlen Specter, who, when I first joined his staff in the 80s, Senator John Hines was Pennsylvania's other U.S. Senator. They were both moderates. Specter and Hines used to talk about the moderates would get together in a conference room and meet. After a while, they said they could have met in a phone booth because, for those of us who remember a phone booth, because there were so few of them. The idea of moderates meeting in the Senate, and they were both well respected from both sides of the aisle. Of course, John Hines died many years ago, tragically, in a plane crash. But yeah, the moderates on both sides of the aisle. And when they become, if suddenly they act moderate, such as John Fetterman, suddenly his own party's going after him. So you never know.
It's like you're not allowed to deviate at all from the party line. Fetterman, Senator Fetterman, when he was anything other than left or anything other than Democrat or wanted to moderate his views, he was attacked by Democrats. You're right.
Yeah, it's interesting to watch this and to see what might happen coming up. We'll get through this holiday season, and suddenly we're in the another election cycle. And that's the midterm elections, and we'll wait and see what happens.
This is a great year for political junkies like you and me. Great year coming up.
We never run out of anything to talk about. To say that I've done multiple interviews over the years with Canadian stations because they find their parliament boring compared to Congress, and I guess that's. I wouldn't mind a little boring once in a while. I'm not sure. So,
that's the thing. I mean, Canadians are kind of mellow in a way, and boring isn't bad sometimes. No, it's not bad.
It certainly is not. Christopher Cruz joining us on the Afternoon Drive Show with an update on the budget. Christopher, thanks so much. You have a good evening.
Thank you, sir. Hope to talk with you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Christopher Cruz. That is, Nick, you got a good radio voice. I've been told I have a radio voice. We're just, wannabes when it comes to Christopher Cruz.
He's the best. That's a lot of coffee and cigarettes. I'm not sure what his method is.
No, come on. It's just coffee.
Oh, that's true.
Or cigars.
Maybe.
We should smoke cigars here.
On the air, absolutely. They used to have ashtrays built into the boards at radio stations. So
when you think about
smoking was that
I remember many years ago, I was I worked with a guy who had his first grandchild. And, I'm late for the news, aren't I, Nick? I'm very late for the news.
Oh, yes. I just assumed we were skipping
a whole minute late.
And your next guest is on the line, so maybe let's get to that break.
Let's take a commercial, then we'll come right back. Yeah. Stick around.
Tune in to WMBS, the second and fourth Thursdays monthly at 10:30 a.m. for an all-new radio program with Pete Crackle, Director of Clinical Operations and Pharmacist at Nickman's Drug. Pete will explore a myriad of health-related topics and talk about how a strong relationship with your pharmacist is vital for your best health. So mark your listening calendars and be sure to catch the all-new show the second and fourth Thursday each month. Need a pharmacy? Visit Nickman's Drug today at any of their 7 area locations.
This is attorney Michael Mays of the Davis & Davis Law Firm. We have been helping injured people just like you recover millions of dollars for over 45 years. If you're hurt or injured, I want to meet you and make sure you get the money that you deserve. Call me at 724-437-2799 for your free consultation. The Davis & Davis Law Firm has been protecting our neighbors in Greene and Fayette counties for over 45 years. Go to davisanddavislaw.com or call 724-437-2799 for your free consultation.
It's a day that ends in Y, so it's a day that you might decide you don't want to cook. That means it's the perfect day to order Fat Angelo's. Offering delicious pizzas, salads, hoagies, strombolis and calzones, wings, and more. And with 12 locations across the area ready to serve you, today is the day to visit FatAngelosPizza.com, where you can quickly and conveniently find your local shop and place your order online. Or get the local phone number and give them a call. Order up!
Route 21 Furniture, take the road to your perfect home.
Sleep well tonight. Try out a new mattress from Route 21 Furniture with a large selection of mattresses, all sizes and comfort levels, with great prices, free local delivery and setup, and financing options. Route 21 Furniture. Open weekdays 9 to 5, Saturday 10 to 5, Sunday noon to 4. 724-737-2222 or Route21Furniture.com.
Route 21 Furniture. Take the road to your perfect home.
Cooler temperatures may be on the way, but you could still enjoy your deck or patio with retractable or fixed awnings from Lifetime Awnings. Made in the USA with manufacturers and customer guarantees, Lifetime Awnings products last. Lifetime Awnings is veteran-owned and operated with a 10% discount to all military veterans and their families. Call Lifetime Awnings 724-554-6067 for a no-cost or obligation home consultation. Or email John, the owner, at lifetimeawningsusa@gmail.com.
That's Led Zeppelin bringing us out of the break. Why? Because our producer likes Led Zeppelin. He does all the liners.
That's exactly why.
That's
yes.
okay.
When you control the liners, you control information.
Control information.
You control the mail, you control information.
That's we've only been on the air for a little bit so far in the Afternoon Drive show, and that's the second Seinfeld reference already.
We actually brought that, Brian and I said that to the mailman once as he came in one day and he had no idea what we were talking about. That was disappointing. When your mailman doesn't get a Seinfeld reference.
Yeah,
I'm sure he's a nice man.
Would he know Cliff?
Yeah.
from Cheers,
Cheers.
I would hope.
Well, who doesn't? Norm, of course.
Norm, everybody knows Norm. Welcome back, by the way,
On
to
that
the
note.
Afternoon Drive show. Exactly. Thanks for joining us. We're with you till 8 o'clock tonight. No sports on the radio tonight, so you're stuck with Nick and me up until 8 o'clock. As we just spoke a moment ago with Christopher Cruz from CBS News in Washington, the federal budget is getting closer and closer to heading to the president's desk. The state budget, which made the federal budget that stoppage look short compared to the state budget issues. So at this point, I think we are now 2 months away from the next budget address, I think, although I lose track. I think the last budget address the governor made just finished a week ago.
Yeah,
it was
really.
the longest budget address I ever heard. But joining us right now to talk about all that from the Commonwealth Foundation, Elizabeth Stell. Elizabeth, thanks for joining us. It looks like there's a budget finally, huh?
Yeah, I guess you could say we won the race to the budget, or maybe lost because it took us about 4 months. But yeah, Pennsylvania finally has a budget for 2025, 2026.
And it's similar in one respect to the federal budget. It's doing deficit spending, isn't it?
Yes, quite a bit of deficit spending. The spend number was quite high, over $50 billion. So that's going to leave us with a structural deficit of around $5 billion, continuing to spend more than we're bringing in every single year. And they closed some of that gap through one-time sources, but it's setting up Pennsylvania taxpayers for some very painful conversations in 26 or maybe even 27.
Now, when we talk about deficit spending, I was tongue-in-cheek saying it's comparable to the federal, where they're not borrowing money, but it's the state's savings account they're taking money from, which is supposed to be used only in emergencies, correct?
Yeah, well, what they did is they took some fund balances from other funds, where the money was just accruing, and they shifted that into the general fund to make the numbers look a little better. They didn't touch the rainy day fund or the budget stabilization fund, so that's still protected, and that's only supposed to be touched if you have a true emergency, not for ongoing everyday spending. So that was a win. We avoided that raid on the rainy day fund. That's really important. But the spend number is just too high. $50 billion in spending when you're bringing in, roughly 46 in revenue. It just doesn't work. So no, we're not at the deficit levels of the federal government, but we're following, unfortunately, in their footsteps by continuing to pass budgets that have far more spending than revenue.
Yeah. When I see the budget numbers like this, $50 billion, it makes me feel old, because I think the first budget when I was working for the state Senate years ago in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, I think the state budget was $12 billion. Good heavens. And now, I guess this budget came in at almost $1.5 billion less than Governor Shapiro originally proposed back in, January, February, I forget when the budget address was.
Right. Yeah. And in February, that very long budget address that he gave, he had about $51.5 billion in spending, including raiding the rainy day fund, some other taxes that didn't come to fruition. So, there's too much spending in this budget, but there are some wins for taxpayers, and I think chief among them is the elimination of RGGI, or the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative. This was a carbon tax that they've been fighting in courts. So withdrawing that is really a boon for the economy and helps you and I and all the Pennsylvanians out there who are concerned about rising electricity bills avoid even more soaring costs. So that's a big win. we have our work cut out for us in terms of addressing the long-term spending deficit.
Yeah. Who would think back in the day when former Governor Wolf implemented RGGI unilaterally that it would play a role in the budget negotiations in 2025, 2026? You never know what might come about. But explain to us, if you could, for a moment. Folks have heard of RGGI. It's the Greenhouse Gas Initiative. A lot of people may not fully understand, including myself, what RGGI is. So if you could take a moment just to tell us what that is and what impact it would have had on energy taxes and the energy industry in the state.
Sure, yeah. So RGGI is just an acronym, stands for Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative. It's a compact of 11 states that have agreed to tax themselves for carbon emissions. And so what that means is that tax then is passed on to the ratepayers eventually, You pay more on your electricity bill in order to drive revenue to things that are supposed to reduce carbon emissions. The problem is RGGI actually does a worse job at reducing carbon emissions than Pennsylvania has on its own. We've reduced more carbon emissions than RGGI states in roughly the last 10 years. And we've done that by switching from coal to natural gas and making other changes. That all happened without these taxes. So if we had continued to move down this pathway of joining RGGI as a full-fledged member, you would have seen electricity rates skyrocket, estimates are around 30%, and you would have seen carbon emissions actually increase because all that power production that's happening right now in Pennsylvania with clean natural gas would shift to other states that are using less clean technology. And guess what? Carbon emissions don't follow state borders. They go wherever they go. So it would actually be worse for the environment and worse for Pennsylvania taxpayers. So we really dodged a huge bullet here. And the bigger story that I think you have to understand is what this has done to investment in the state. We have not built a brand new sited natural gas generation plant in Pennsylvania since this RGGI mess started. That's a huge missed opportunity for Pennsylvania because the gas is right under our feet. And we have the know-how, we have the manpower, we haven't been able to tap it because this has been hanging over the heads of investors. With that going away, I think you're going to see a lot of new investment come to the state.
Yeah, and it's not as if you can just simply build them overnight. This takes some time to put together a plant like that. And it was interesting, too. Nick Barczyk, our producer, was just reporting on the budget, and it said that this would have made Pennsylvania the only fossil fuel-producing state to force power plant owners to pay for their planet-warming greenhouse gas emissions. So that's rather unique. That the other states that would do that, such as West Virginia and others, Kentucky, would not have been or have not been part of this RGGI group. Correct?
That's right. Yeah, Pennsylvania was an outlier. Yes, New Jersey and Maryland have power plants. They're in RGGI, but they produce nowhere close to the amount of power that Pennsylvania produces. We are the number one exporter of electricity in the nation. We export roughly 80 to 83% of all the power we generate in the Commonwealth. So we are just a powerhouse, and it's apples and oranges comparison.
Yeah, and what's interesting too is while we are a powerhouse, we don't have enough power at times for what we want to do here when it comes to data centers, et cetera. Who would have thought that 3 Mile Island might reopen someday? And that's a distinct possibility at this point. It's scheduled to reopen just to provide the power needed for the new economy.
Yeah. Nuclear power is coming back because people want, emission-free, reliable energy, and that's a great solution. So we've really seen a dramatic change in the energy landscape with data centers, with AI. The electrification of so many things is significantly driving up electricity demand at a rate we frankly have never seen. So I think all of those realities sort of hit Pennsylvanians in the face and forced the governor to step back from RGGI, to stop defending this terrible carbon tax. And that's just a huge win for Pennsylvania taxpayers, whether you are, in Union County, whether you are in Bucks County, wherever you're at in Pennsylvania, you're going to benefit. You're going to avoid much higher electricity rates.
Yeah, it goes all the way back to 1991 when there was a huge increase in the corporate net income tax in Pennsylvania, made it one of the highest in the nation. This budget continues to drop that, correct?
Yeah, it continues the phase out of the corporate income tax. So that's great. We're still on track to get to, I think it's 499 by 31, I believe. So that's great news for Pennsylvanians. What it does do that's not so great, and this is really nitty-gritty, but it decouples the rates from some of the federal changes that were made in July. So expensing, that sort of thing, isn't as robust as it could be. So we'll have some conversations about that, but all in all, there's permitting reform in this budget. There's a few incremental steps forward in terms of our human services and how we make sure that our resources get to the truly needy. There's a lot of good things in here, some not so great things, but all in all, I think as a kitchen table issues, the carbon tax getting moved off the table is just huge.
Yeah, without question. That is clearly the biggest part of this. Over the years, the Commonwealth Foundation has been very firm in its efforts to address the problems with education. By the way, we were speaking with Elizabeth Stell, Vice President at the Commonwealth Foundation. But the idea of tax credits for scholarships, that did get better in layman's terms in this budget, but not as far as I guess it could have gone, correct?
Yeah, we continue to be very disappointed by Governor Shapiro's lack of initiative here. When he ran for governor, he said that he supported what we call Lifeline Scholarship, a scholarship for any kid that is assigned to a failing school, the bottom 15% in Pennsylvania. Those kids deserve options. Oftentimes, they are lower income. They can't afford another option. And the test scores in those schools are obviously atrocious. They're the bottom 15%. Less than half of the kids can read at grade level. So we wanted to see scholarships go to those families, put those families in charge of their child's education. He said he supported on the campaign trail. He line item vetoed it in his first budget, and it's been a real struggle ever since to bring him back to that promise that he made to taxpayers. This budget does, something good but small. It increases tax credit scholarships for a certain part of students that go to what's called economically disadvantaged schools. So that's great, but now the schools have to go out and raise the money for those tax credit scholarships and help out the kids that are, economically disadvantaged and are looking for a school that actually fits their needs. So $50 million more for those kids is great, but it's not near enough what Pennsylvania needs to do to actually make sure that every student has the opportunity to go to a school that meets their needs.
It hasn't getting as much attention lately, but a lot of attention in the budget issues has focused on mass transit. The governor in his original budget proposal wanted to increase budget spending for mass transit by almost a third of $1 billion. So what was the final verdict on mass transit funding in this budget?
Yeah, so that sort of went off the table this summer. The governor wanted to redirect some sales tax revenues, he said, to that. That didn't happen. Instead, he moved around some other federal monies that he has control over, and they called it, good enough for now. But I'm sure that issue will rise up again, just because of the sheer mismanagement, honestly, that's happening in a lot of our mass transit agencies. They rely far more on state revenue than other major mass transit agencies across the country. So we're going to continue to see a conversation around that. But our position has been very clear. Drivers should not be subsidizing mass transit riders.
Yeah, it's.
And we need to move away from that.
Yeah, it's one of those issues that's going to come up again. And I mentioned earlier, we're 2 months away, actually, I guess 3 months away from the next budget proposal, which usually, I guess he does the State of the Commonwealth address in January, the budget address in February. Let's hope it doesn't go another hour and a half like last year. No, I've been joking. I think I've worn out that joke about how long the governor's budget address was last year.
Well, let's hope the next impasse doesn't go another 4 months.
Yeah, that would be better, and or have it coupled with a federal budget or federal government shutdown. The state really did get hit with a double whammy this time through. It came from both angles, I suppose.
Yes. I mean, those I'm very glad that we now have some certainty, and those people working in county services, our schools, there were a lot of people that were really impacted in a negative way. So we're glad to see this finally come to a close. Again, still spends too much, but it does make some good strides forward to make Pennsylvania more competitive. And I think, hopefully we can get to a better place a little bit faster next time around, but it's going to be challenging because we have this big budget hole to fill, and people are loath to raise taxes, and so I think what we're going to start working on, as soon as tomorrow, we're going to start working on ideas, things that we can do in Pennsylvania to bring down the spend number, to use the resources that taxpayers have already given us, so that we can avoid a major tax increase.
You're waiting till tomorrow? Come on, get to work tonight, for heaven's sakes. You're taking the evening off?
We're going to take a moment to celebrate, and then we'll get back to work.
Exactly. What there is, it gives you some idea of the massive size of these budget. A 5% increase doesn't sound like much till you realize it's $2.5 billion.
That's right.
It's with a B. When you think about that, it's a 5% increase. Good heavens. But the governor's original proposal was much more than 5%, correct?
Yes. It was close, 7, almost 8% increase in spending. And the problem is, as this works, every year it accelerates, and the numbers get bigger, and the deficits get bigger, and it snowballs. And so it's really important to hold the line on spending, especially in line with your revenue. It's, we say it a lot at Consultation, but it's true. Pennsylvania doesn't have a revenue problem. Our revenues grow every year. We have a spending problem. And until we address that, we're going to find ourselves in these conversations every year where we're, pulling up the couch cushions, looking for ways that we can make the numbers work. And that's just not a good way to run a state.
Yeah, we have about a minute left. You talked earlier about the structural deficit. Whereas this budget, at one point, the governor's budget said it was going to take money from the rainy day fund. It's not doing that. But there is a structural deficit. Take a moment if you could explain what that is and where the money's coming from to take care of that.
Yeah. So that means that there continues to be a gap between the revenues that are coming in and the spending that Pennsylvania is doing. We've been able to close the gap recently from some of these one-time COVID funds that came from the federal government. It, for lack of a better term, hid the structural deficit for Pennsylvanians for the past couple of years. But now it's becoming much more apparent. And so the way that they're addressing this gap between what we spend and what we take in to make sure that the budget on paper looks balanced, because that is a requirement in our Constitution. We have a balanced budget. What they're doing is taking balances from other accounts that are outside the general fund. We have all these special funds hanging out here. They're taking money from that, about $3.9 billion, and then they're using lapse funds, appropriations that they made, but then the agencies didn't use for whatever reason. And then they're taking other budget excesses from some of these all together to come up with enough money to close the gap. The problem with this is the excess revenue from the outside budgets, outside funds, and the lapse funds are one time, right? We use those up and they're gone. But the spending continues.
Again, joining us in the afternoon
where the
drive
problem.
show. Yeah. Elizabeth Stell, Vice President of Policy with the Commonwealth Foundation. We occasionally check in with you and your colleagues. We appreciate your taking time. And
yeah, sure.
I think we can give you the evening off and then start working on the
I
effort
appreciate
tomorrow.
it.
No problem. Go have a beer.
Thanks so much.
All right. Thanks, Liz. Joining us again on the WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital Talk Line. We're going to take a break. We'll talk about what else is coming up on the show this evening. We're going to bounce around various topics this evening. We're with you till 8 o'clock. I'm Doug Saltzman. That's Nick Barczyk. Stick around.
Bad hair day? Bad day at the office? Bad day behind the wheel? Hey, stuff happens, even to the best of us. At least your car insurance rate doesn't have to take a hit. Get Erie Rate Lock from Erie Insurance. Gives you a great rate that stays put until you change a car, driver, or your address. Plus, seriously good service. Now that's something to smile about.
Your Erie agent in Uniontown and Ross Traver Township is Sprowls Insurance Group, 724-437-9812, or go to sprowlsinsurance.com.
Erie Rate Lock does not guarantee continued insurance coverage and is not available in all states.
Businesses come in all shapes and sizes. Integrity doesn't. For more than a century, the Better Business Bureau has set the standards for how businesses should operate honestly and ethically. So when you're looking for a business you can trust, Check to see who's BBB accredited and who isn't. Always choose the better business. Look for the BBB seal because it's looking out for you. That's why it's the sign of a better business. And find a better business anytime at bbb.org.
Looking for a fireplace? Koval Building Supply at 40 Monroe Avenue in Uniontown is more than your plumbing supply store. We specialize in fireplaces of all fuel types, such as gas, wood, pellet, and electric. We're now featuring Harmon pellet stoves from Forge and Flame, perfect for keeping your family warm and cozy. Call Koval today at 724-437-8824 or visit kovalsupply.com to start planning for the winter season. Koval Building Supply, everything you need to make your house feel like home.
Any day is a good day to shop at Reese Warehouse, where you will find your favorite brands of furniture, bedding, and appliances at great prices every day. Plus great service, such as delivery and setup in your home, and no interest financing available for qualified buyers. Shop Monday through Friday, 9 until 6, and Saturday, 9 till 5. Reese Warehouse, the Superstore, Gans Woodbridge Road in Smithfield. And Reese Warehouse thanks you for choosing them as the 2024 Best in Fayette Appliance and Mattress Store.
Did you know that you have a choice for your physical therapy provider? NovaCare Rehabilitation offers same-day appointments, and oftentimes you don't need a prescription from your doctor to see us. We will make sure that you are treated as an individual and will work directly one-on-one with you to help achieve your goals. You have tried the rest, now try the best. NovaCare, Delaware Avenue in Uniontown. Phone 724-437-0556 to schedule your appointment today.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Wow, your dog looks beautiful.
We went to Mutts on Market Street, the dog grooming salon in downtown Brownsville. Samantha, the owner, has over 10 years dog grooming experience. They work with any dog, any breed, any size.
Didn't it cost a fortune?
No, the prices are great. They offer a full line of grooming and other services.
The holidays are here, so treat your furry friends to a fresh holiday grooming at Mutts on Market Street. And don't forget your feline friends, Mutts on Market Street now offers cat grooming. Get your pets holiday ready at Mutts on Market Street in downtown Brownsville. Visit them on Facebook for details.
WMBS.
There's a tramp sitting on my doorstep.
Once in a while, I'll get an email at radiosaltsfrom@gmail.com asking why Nick is not on Facebook Live. We had to reposition this camera so we're both on Nick.
That's all right.
No, I think we should.
The way we sit, it's impossible, really. I mean, if we had a stalker cam on the wall, maybe.
If people could just see you over there swatting at a fly, that
it was annoying me.
I think you're saying things. I saw no. So this
You didn't see a fly?
Let's go back. This is a Stone song.
This is a Stone song. You want me to pull it up?
Yeah, sure. I never heard this Rolling Stone song.
Jigsaw Puzzle from Beggar's Banquet. It's a deep cut, if you will.
A deep cut. Because otherwise it may not be playing.
I'll fade it down so we don't get kicked off Facebook Live.
No, I don't. No, that's right. You did play it too long, I guess.
You never heard that one?
No, I've never heard
one.
and
It's
I've
on the
seen-
same album as Sympathy
I've
for
seen
the
Stones,
Devil.
I think 4 different times.
Wow. They probably don't play Jigsaw Puzzle much. It's just it came to me.
They do
We'll
great
play some other
concerts.
deep cuts. Fool in the Rain's a Led Zeppelin deep cut, so we're digging a little deeper tonight.
Not
It's
to be
Deep Cut
confused with-
Wednesday.
not to be confused with Fool for the City.
That's right. Fool for the City.
Who sings that, Nick?
Oh, God. Who does? Supertramp.
Oh, who? Oh, gosh. You meant
Oh,
to say
gosh.
gosh. So I say to my daughters when they say, oh, God. Yeah,
Yeah, I won't.
I
I won't swear again.
Foghat.
Foghat, that's right. Did you see not the original members of Foghat?
Well, I've
You
seen
saw a cover
Foghat 3
band?
times. Yeah, one was at the old Pittsburgh Civic Arena.
Oh, wow.
One was at a bar in Bethel Park called Al's Cafe.
Ooh.
And then one was a free concert out at South Park in Allegheny County. I think the only person left was the drummer.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Drummers
That's all you need.
aren't usually known for going off the deep end.
No, not at all. Not Keith Moon or John Bonham or Neil Peart. I could go on.
Yeah, that's the case. Hey, coming up, second hour, we're going to check in with our good friend Thane Rosenbaum, get the latest on legal analysis, and then we're going to check in. He was not available yesterday. He was at the the Army Black Knights Duke basketball game. Did not go well for Army playing number 2 Duke. So he wasn't available. We're going to check in with retired Army Major Mike Lyons, talk about Veterans Day yesterday, his career in the military, the importance of educating children on veterans, etc. We're going to check to him. He was very excited about doing that interview, but he just wasn't available yesterday. So we'll cut him a break, I suppose. Nick, what do you think?
I guess so. He's a major.
Yeah, we'll cut him a break on that. So we'll be checking with him, particularly his military career, his decision to go into the military. We'll check with him on that coming up. So that's the plan for hour 2, and we're with you till 8 o'clock tonight.
You've heard this song before, right?
I have heard this song before.
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
And Double Trouble. CBS News is next, followed by Local News with Nick on your local station, WMBS Uniontown. That's Nick. I'm Doug. Stick around. Thanks for listening.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Stacey Lynn in Washington, where the House is finally back in session, and CBS's Linda Kenyon reports they just checked off the first thing on their agenda.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm?
House Speaker Mike Johnson administered the oath to Adelita Grijalva.
Congratulations, you're now a member of the 119th Congress.
Grijalva won a special election to fill the House seat of her late father, Raul Grijalva. But Speaker Johnson waited more than 50 days to swear her in, and she did not let that slide.
This is an abuse of power.
She then became the decisive signature on a petition to force a vote on releasing the full Epstein files. That vote will likely happen early in December. GOP Representative Michelle Fischbach.
Oversight is already releasing many of those files. As a matter of fact, I believe they've done tens of thousands of them, but I believe this morning they did another 20,000 files. So they are being released.
Those newly released emails she's talking about are calling into question what President Trump did or did not know about Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. Democrat Jim McGovern.
The bottom line is every single Republican will go on record, and you will have to make clear whether you're on the side of a pedophile or whether you're on the side of the victims.
The White House has pushed back on those newly released emails, accusing Democrats of creating a fake narrative to smear the president. Right now on the House floor, lawmakers are moving forward with the whole process to get to a final vote on the funding bill to reopen the government. If it passes as expected, it will immediately go to the president's desk for his signature. And while that means federal employees will get back to work, it doesn't necessarily mean air travel will bounce back so fast. Correspondent Carter Evans is in Los Angeles.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy has said he's not just going to all of a sudden ramp everything back up to full speed. He wants to make sure that those air traffic control towers are fully staffed to be able to handle the number of passengers so that they're not under the pressure that they have been in that caused this whole situation.
And with an end to the shutdown on the horizon, there likely will be a scramble to push out key federal data reports that have been delayed, including jobs reports. But Chicago Federal Reserve Bank President Austin Goolsbee says there are concerns just how accurate they'll be.
They were quite likely to ask people on this certain week that was 2 months ago, did you have a job? And just the people's recollections and the answers for information that's older are going to be a little noisier. And so I do think that's a concern.
Checking Wall Street today, the Dow closed up 326 points. The Nasdaq today dropped 6 points at the close. S&P 500 gained 4. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It's a day that ends in Y, so it's a day that you might decide you don't want to cook. That means it's the perfect day to order Fat Angelo's, offering delicious pizzas, salads, hoagies, strombolis and calzones, wings, and more. And with 12 locations across the area ready to serve you, today is the day to visit FatAngelosPizza.com, where you can quickly and conveniently find your local shop and place your order online, or get the local phone number and give them a call. Order up!
Wow, your dog looks beautiful.
We went to Mutt's on Market Street, the dog grooming salon in downtown Brownsville. Samantha, the owner, has over 10 years dog grooming experience. They work with any dog, any breed, any size.
Didn't it cost a fortune?
No, the prices are great. They offer a full line of grooming and other services.
The holidays are here, so treat your furry friends to a fresh holiday grooming at Mutt's on Market Street. And don't forget your feline friends. Mutt's on Market Street now offers cat grooming. Get your pets holiday ready at Mutt's on Market Street in downtown Brownsville. Visit them on Facebook for details.
could be going up.
It could have you saying Mamma Mia. The Trump administration is considering a new import duty on 13 of Italy's largest pasta exporters. The total taxes could rise 107%. Some Italian pasta companies are warning they could stop exporting the products to the U.S. NYU economics professor Joseph Fauci.
Once you see about 10% of the market disappear, and Italian pasta is about 12% of U.S. sales, the remaining firms have an easy excuse to raise prices.
A White House spokesperson tells CBS News it's part of a proposal and not yet final. Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News.
You can wash that expensive pasta down with a very pricey and boozy beer. Samuel Adams' new Utopia's 25 is the strongest beer in the world with 30% ABV. It's illegal to sell in 15 states. It gets its high alcohol content, they say, through an extended fermentation process. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
The local district and statewide news is being brought to you by Fayette Area Coordinated Transportation, striving harder to get you farther. For more information, call 724-628-RIDE. And now to the news.
Good evening. Sorry, folks. Doug gave me great advice when that news ended to talk, and I'm going to take it. Thanks, Doug. Fatherly advice from Mr. Saltzman. 6:05 on a Wednesday. Good evening. I'm Nick Barczyk from the Davis & Davis studios. On our cloudy skies, 48 degrees. Davis & Davis attorneys at law injured. Our team is ready to fight for you. Your local station, 590 and 101.1 WMBS. The Weather Watch and sports on the way. Pennsylvania State Senator Pat Stefano voted today to advance a bipartisan state budget plan that was approved, and he said it's going to help grow Pennsylvania's economy and make key improvements to the spending plan the governor addressed or proposed this year. The governor signed the budget today. The $50.1 billion budget approved by the Senate and the House. It cuts nearly $1.5 billion in spending from the governor's original proposal, and it utilizes billions in lapsed funding in state agencies and special funds in the best interest of taxpayers, protects Pennsylvanians from the devastating consequences of the governor's proposed electricity tax, and incentivizes job growth. That from a statement released today by Stefano. He says, despite a long, tumultuous budget process, we've cut nearly $1.5 billion from the governor's original budget proposal. And the agreement includes new money to promote student achievement and empower families, including a $50 million expansion of the state's popular educational improvement tax credit program. And it prevents Pennsylvania from entering RGGI, the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative. Again, that a release from Senator Stefano's office. Fayette County Coroner Dr. Bob Baker today identified the 3 people killed in a crash in Henry Clay Township in Fayette Monday evening. State police said a tractor-trailer and 2 passenger vehicles were involved in the accident along Route 40 near Youghiogheny River Lake around 6 in the evening Monday. The victims were 66-year-old Delroy Henry of Florida, 31-year-old Nikki Jo Rugg of Markleysburg, and 34-year-old Michael Brown of Martinsburg, West Virginia. The tractor-trailer driven by Henry crossed the center lane, hitting the pickup truck driven by Rugg head-on. The pickup then struck the van which Brown was a passenger in. 5 others in the van were taken to the hospital for treatment. The Westmoreland County Airport Authority is taking out a nearly $3 million bridge loan to keep payments flowing to contractors for the terminal expansion project at Arnold Palmer Regional Airport. Expected funding from an over $6 million state redevelopment assistance capital program grant has been delayed. Executive Director of the Airport Authority, Gay Monzo, said he's hopeful the money will be released in about 6 months, but he said the authority will take out the loan for a 1-year term just in case. Authority officials said the loan will be repaid from project funds and will not draw upon Westmoreland County dollars. Federal officials could be closing the Navy Reserve Center in Pittsburgh. Congressman Chris Deluzio and over 100 other lawmakers have signed onto a letter to speak out against the provision in the National Defense Authorization Act that would shut down the Pittsburgh facility and others like it around America. Those in favor of the plan say the centers are a waste of money and say they no longer meet the needs of the Navy. Deluzio and others who are opposed to the cuts say shutting down reserve centers will significantly increase the administrative workload for some Navy reservists. Powerball and Mega Millions lottery jackpots are still growing. The Powerball is worth $512 million for this evening's drawing, while the Mega Millions for Friday's drawing over $960 million. And the northern lights will likely be visible again tonight over the skies of southwest Pennsylvania. Last night, sky gazers were left in awe seeing the Aurora Borealis, which is visible in the area due to what NOAA says is a severe geomagnetic storm. The northern lights occur when the sun's plasma interacts with the Earth's magnetic field. If you can't see the lights with your naked eye, use a cell phone camera with the long exposure turned on, officials say. And we're excited for that Northern Light event this evening. Hope I can get tickets. 6:09, 51 degrees. Sports and weather next on WMBS.
Take the fact.
Need to get to work? Run errands? See a doctor? Fact connects Fayette County. Ride our convenient routes through Uniontown, Connellsville, Brownsville, even to Pittsburgh. Seniors 65 and older ride free on fixed routes. People with disabilities get big savings, and Medicaid recipients can ride to medical appointments at no cost through our shared ride and paratransit services. Find out if you qualify today. Call 724-628-RIDE or visit factbus.com. Fact, your ride, your independence.
In sports, a Pirates pitcher Paul Skeens is eligible or a finalist for the National League Cy Young Award. It'll be announced this evening. He's the favorite to win the award in the senior circuit. Pirates general manager Ben Cherington said they have no plans to trade Skeens going into 2026. And in football, the Steelers ready for their game against the Bengals Sunday at 1 at Acrisure Stadium on WMBS. It will be the Steelers and the Bengals. Steelers 5-4, Cincinnati 3-6. Pitt football 7-2 taking on 7-2 Notre Dame. Big game at Acrisure Stadium Saturday at noon on WMBS. On the way tomorrow night, Thursday evening, basketball, the backyard brawl in Morgantown at the Coliseum. Pitt at West Virginia at 6. Then the NFL game, Jets taking on the Patriots in New England to begin Week 11 at 8 o'clock on WMBS. Penguins are in Sweden for 2 games this weekend against Nashville. And now the WMBS weather watch for all of southwest Pennsylvania. Right now at 48 degrees under cloudy skies, went up to 52 today. Overnight low tonight down to 36. Sunny Thursday at 54, low at freezing 32. Sunny Friday warming up to 57, 42 the overnight low for the weekend. Rain moving in, but 64 for the high. Rain likely Sunday at 52, low down below freezing at 31, 48 with sun Monday. Chance of some wintry flurries and some rain overnight Monday at 34. Wintry mix moving in Tuesday at 48. Right now, under cloudy skies, 48 degrees at 6:11 on this Wednesday evening. And good evening from the Davis & Davis studios in downtown Uniontown. I'm Nick Barczyk. Stay tuned. More of the Afternoon Drive Show with Doug Saltzman next. He's on until 8 this evening on WMBS.
The local, district, and statewide news has been a service of Fact, Fayette Area Coordinated Transportation, striving harder to get you farther. Phone 724-628-RIDE for routes, rates, and schedules. 724-628-RIDE for Fact.
Point Hill Living Care Home is an all-new personal care home conveniently located in Point Marion and is now accepting new residents. Point Hill Living is committed to providing comfort and support while allowing residents to maintain their independence and enhance their quality of life. With a dedicated staff and experienced advanced care team, Point Hill Living offers fully customized care plans for all residents, while also ensuring a sense of community and engagement, making Point Hill feel like home. Multiple care levels are available, from basic plans to fully customized and enhanced plans, including options for medical monitoring and full-time dedicated assistance. If you are looking for a high-quality care home close to home, look no further than Point Hill Living Care Home at 300 Union Street in Point Marion. Call them today at 724-725-5533 to learn more, or visit them at pointhillliving.com. Point Hill Living Care Home, where our residents are family.
Have you been told there is nothing that can be done for your neuropathy? Tri-State Neuropathy Centers is pleased to tell you that's not true. As one of the largest and most successful neuropathy treatment practices in the country, Tri-State Neuropathy Centers has grown to 9 regional centers and helped over 14,000 patients, like John from Morgantown. John had such extreme numbness and pain that he was having difficulty feeling his car pedals. Then John discovered Tri-State Neuropathy Centers and their effective FDA-approved treatment program that has no drugs, is non-invasive and painless. John's great results have given his freedom back, and he's doing the things he wants, like simply driving or cutting the grass. Tri-State Neuropathy Centers help John, along with thousands of others. Let them help you next. Call 304-777-2068. That's 304-777-2068. Tri-State Neuropathy Centers, the leader in treating peripheral neuropathy.
Yeah, they're the people I trust. It's the place I go. Home, warehouse, where a house becomes a home.
Home Warehouse thanks you for once again voting them the best in Fayette for home improvements and windows, and they know how to make your house a happy home. Save on energy costs, keep out drafts, and update your home with beautiful new windows, doors, and storm doors from Home Warehouse, your one-stop shop for your exterior building needs. Roofing shingles, metal, and commercial rubber roofing, shutters, siding, soffit and fascia, railing, as well as flooring, home and gun safes, wood pellets, and dog food too. So for selection, great prices, and hometown service, see Sandy and Donnie at Home Warehouse, Connellsville Street in Uniontown, wishing you a happy holiday season. Shop Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30, Saturday, 8 to noon, closed Sunday and holidays.
Home Warehouse, where a house becomes a home.
Are you considering a project design and don't know where to start? K2 Engineering offers a wide range of professional civil, architectural, and municipal services to meet your individual project needs. Our versatility combined with our personalized approach is what sets us apart as a full-service engineering and consultation firm. To learn more about our services, please visit us on the web at www.k2engineering.net. K2 Engineering, where customer service is our priority.
Pizza Kings in Connellsville is your go-to lunch and dinner spot with a full menu of mouth-watering pizzas and so much more. Using a deck oven helps our pizzas stay extra crisp, so if you haven't tried a slice lately, what are you waiting for? From our 50-slice King Carnivore to veggie pizzas and even pickle pizzas, Pizza King has the pie to match your taste. Pizza Kings, 1046 Morrell Avenue in Connellsville. Call 724-626-8343 or visit pizzakingswithaz.com.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
I'm sure somebody who's watching Facebook Live right now is wondering why Doug is having a seizure here. I'm trying to kill a fly. It was on Nick's side of the studio. Now it's on mine.
We'll not kill it. Just encourage it to leave us alone. We're not for killing animals. All of God's creatures are valid, no matter how small.
No, I want to kill this fly.
I'm kidding. I want to kill it, too, just in case PETA's listening.
At one point, it landed on my head. Many years ago, Myron Cope, of course, from Steelers fame, and used to do the sports on Channel 4, back when it was called Action News, was doing the sports, and a fly landed on his nose.
There's a fly on my nose.
And he said, there's a fly. I'm telling you, there was a fly on my nose. Everybody in the studio was going nuts.
What was the name of that cornerback? Faker Brown? Fakir?
Yeah, watch
we
it,
won't
Nick.
finish that.
Don't say it wrong. We're quoting the great Myron Cope.
You have to Google that. Fakir Brown, Myron Cope, on the radio with the late, great Tun Shelkin and the legend Billy Hillgrove. It is phenomenal. And by the way, the late, great Myron Cope, of course. But yeah, legendary.
Yeah, but don't do it during the show, naturally.
No,
of course not.
Wait until 8 o'clock, 8:05.
Because everybody's completely focused on the show during the time we're on.
Oh.
You know, I say some stuff I think it's funny. Are people out there saying Doug thinks he's funny? He's not. I don't want to be one of those guys.
No, absolutely not. But if they really don't think you're funny or entertaining in any way, they'll just turn the radio
off.
off.
The radio. Yeah, they
I'm sure they'll listen for me.
They can't hear me not be funny.
That's
How
true.
Can I not be funny? How can people not like
How can people not ever? Yeah.
My mother said I was a wonderful boy.
That's it. How can people not like me?
I suppose.
They like me. They really like me. Yeah, Thanksgiving. You a turkey guy, Doug?
Oh, I could eat it nonstop.
Oh, it's a little dry, but I still love it. Put some gravy on
that's
it.
because whoever's cooking it isn't doing a good job.
Oh, those are fighting words with my
There's
mother.
That fly again. You know, I've been swatting at this fly in the studio here. As
It's
I mentioned
awful.
off air.
It's still going.
If something as big as the U.S. Steel Building was swinging at me, I'd probably leave the area.
That's true. They're persistent, though.
Yeah, they are.
They will not back down.
No, I'm going to get that fly
It's
before
awful.
this is over.
And by the way, the fly is flying around the Davis & Davis Attorneys at Law Studios. Never miss a chance to mention the sponsor, Doug.
Absolutely. I'm sorry. I should have mentioned that right now. And we'll mention that temperature along with that outside our Davis & Davis Attorneys at Law Studios. Feels like 38, 44 degrees, as Nick mentioned during his forecast. A high tomorrow, 47, then 49. We don't give it above 58 for the next 10 days. So we are definitely in fall weather. Had some snow up on the ridges, I suppose, the other day. And I was talking to Indiana, the state of Indiana, got hit with quite a bit of snow for this time of year, including up on the summits. And I think the ski resorts are making snow already. They need cold enough weather overnight. And so it's been working up there. They always try to be open for Thanksgiving. I always try to go skiing, Nick, on Super Bowl Sunday every year.
Is that right?
Because the slopes are empty.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
During the game or like earlier in the
game.
day? During the game. You don't watch the Super Bowl?
Occasionally, yes.
Oh,
course.
gosh,
Unless
Doug.
I'm skiing, all right?
I know you watch it just for the halftime show and the commercials.
Oh, that's right. I do watch it for the halftime shows.
You'll be all over Bad Bunny this year.
Bad Bunny. I'll be honest with you. I don't care that Bad Bunny's on. I'm happy. Whatever it is, who cares? I've never heard of Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
But that's not a reason for me to hate it.
No.
Or hate him.
Not really in your demo.
No, it's
Neither is Taylor Swift, but we know who she is.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm still paying off the tickets that my daughters bought using my Capital One credit card. It was the greatest thing ever happened. I had the Capital One credit card.
Oh, wow.
To see her.
Dad's useful for something.
Exactly. I'm not sure if he's a fan of Taylor Swift, but we're very pleased to welcome back on the WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital Talk Line our good friends from CBS News, legal analyst, author, professor, you name it, Thane Rosenbaum. Thane, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm going to say something scandalous, but this is in Kansas City, so it won't matter.
Stand by.
I liked her before she was with Travis Kelce.
Oh no!
Or before she became a pop star, she was a country star.
Yeah, it ruined it. Yeah, I mean this whole thing with them has, for me, been an enormous turnoff. Yeah. And when she was dating that British actor whose name you don't know, but when she was naming that very cerebral British actor who even co-wrote some of the songs, I was very impressed. That was during the pandemic. I was very impressed that she was with a sort of brainy British guy, and that he was co-writing some of the songs. He's an actor. You can look him up. Nick will. He'll find the name of the guy immediately.
I'm on it.
He'll find the name of the guy because he is an established actor, good-looking guy. But something broke. They broke up. So she wrote those two, what I would call brooding albums during the pandemic that were really very successful. And then now, of course, she came out with a pop album, a little bubblegummy, because I think it reflects a relationship with Travis Kelce, who just doesn't seem to be a serious person in my mind.
This could well be the last interview ever for Thane Rosenbaum. He'll no doubt be canceled.
If we were in Kansas City, he would be.
Do you know? No, I think we're going to get terrible. You can't say things like that about Taylor Swift.
Yeah, how dare you, for heaven's sake.
When you type in Taylor Swift's ex-boyfriends, it's a long list, man. It's like War and Peace.
Wasn't she engaged to one of the Kennedys at one point?
I think she may have been.
Yeah,
Jake
but that's an
Gyllenhaal,
older
Joe Jonas.
boyfriend.
Oh, that's an older boyfriend.
Let's
Zac
look
Efron.
at Nick, try to find the guy who's the most recent British actor, and I'll remember his name if you...
As soon as we tell Thane, he's going to remember the name.
Is it Tom Hiddleston?
Nope, not him.
Not
okay,
him. Wrong
because-
boyfriend, Nick. Keep
Yeah,
looking
wrong
over
guy.
there.
She's been with every guy except me and
getting
Doug
a
and
legal
Thane.
analysis of Taylor Swift's relationships.
Oh.
Yeah, I did like her when she was a country singer at first.
Matt Healy,
Yes.
he's a musician.
Matt Healy? No.
No.
Joe,
I'm surprised this isn't...
Joe
What?
Alwyn.
Oh, there it is. Joe who? Yeah, there it is.
Joe Alwyn. There you go.
Joe Alwyn.
Not a household
you see
name.
him- he's not a household name. He's been in lots of movies. They were together for a number of years. And I met him years ago, and he struck me as a very thoughtful, brainy guy. And I went, oh, there she goes. There's an interesting match. And then she goes with the tight end.
You don't like her dating an athlete.
Yeah. What's fascinating, though, the impact of their dating has increased. What they said had a $350 million impact on the Chiefs and the NFL.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The NFL loves it.
But can I tell you, when you said don't date, Thane's problem is she's dating an athlete, this will tell you, Nick, everything you need to know about Thane. Thane would have been fine if she was dating, and Nick and Doug will love this. Thane would be fine if she were dating Bill Bradley.
Oh, Bill Bradley, a brainiac athlete.
Because
former
a
Celtic.
Brainiac,
Yeah.
Rhodes Scholar,
Was
went
he
to
in the Senate?
Princeton.
Yeah, I knew he ran. Yeah.
He was.
Yeah, he was a presidential candidate. He
Yeah.
was with the Knicks.
That's
he went
it.
to Princeton. He was a Rhodes Scholar. So it tells you everything about Thane. He wants people who read books.
Absolutely. I'm sure Travis Kelce's read a book, maybe a coloring book.
The playbook.
The playbook.
Yeah, he read the
good one,
playbook,
Doug.
I
Yeah.
think,
Oh, that's a book.
Can we get Thane's legal advice on killing a fly?
There's
This
a
is
fly in
driving
the
us
studio.
nuts.
It's driving us nuts. That's
Yeah.
right. I don't know what the rule is on that. I think we can kill a fly without much of
Yeah.
an backlash. I hope.
Well, PETA may have
They'll
an
be
issue.
protesting out front when we
Yeah.
leave. Now I've completely forgot what we're supposed
Who
to. Oh, I
knows?
know. We were supposed to talk to Thane about SNAP benefits and the budget issue, but now the
Yeah.
budget's this close to being resolved. But let's talk nonetheless about how SNAP benefits, which folks used to call food stamps, or which used to be called food stamps, how did this become a legal issue, I guess is the question.
Well, the Department of Agriculture is responsible as part of their budget to take care of what you're right. It used to be food stamps. Now they basically give you a credit card, debit card actually, and they refill your debit card every month. It's actually a much more efficient way so that you go and you don't have to hand stamps at the cashier. You just put in your card as if it's a credit card, and it has much more dignity. But it is a federal supplemental income policy, and it's handled by the Department of Agriculture, which is in the executive branch of government. And so when the government shut down, the position is, well, we're not going to cover that anymore. State attorneys general, as well as nonprofit organizations said, yeah, but millions of them rely on this and they're going to starve. And there was not even money to refill the card for November 1st. Apparently they're refilled every 2 weeks, the card. So by November 1st, already nobody was getting their SNAP benefits. So there were a number of lawsuits that were brought. And the Trump administration, in order to sort of say, all right, look, we don't think we owe, at this point, the government is shut down. It's the Democrats' fault. There's nothing we can do about it. Blame them. At some point, President Trump's administration said, you know what? We located an emergency fund within the Department of Agriculture that will fulfill 65% of those payments. And we can implement that. So withdraw your lawsuit. And the state attorney general said, no, we want 100%. And so that's when President Trump dug his heels. He said, what are you talking about? If you want 100%, then the state should cover the remaining 35%. And when the government reopens, we can reimburse you. But no, we're not going to come up. We have no other source of funding other than this emergency funding that would normally be set aside, by the way, for natural disasters. And it's not clear whether a government shutdown is the same thing as a tornado or a hurricane, right? So we just use this fund, even though it really doesn't belong in this situation. We're willing to do it. And so this case essentially went to the Supreme Court. And last night, the Supreme Court said, you know what? This thing looks like it's over anyway. And if it's over, there's no reason for us to step in. Because, the Supreme Court always, if they can rule procedurally and get rid of it, they always will. Otherwise they're being asked to demand that the federal government provide these 100% payments no matter what. President Trump said, hey, courts don't have anything to do. This is a legislative issue. Taxing and spending is the Congress and the president. Courts do not demand that you make money available. And so the Supreme Court avoided the problem by said, let's keep the stay in order for now. Let the 65% emergency fund play itself out, and hopefully the government will reopen for business in the next few days. And then we don't have to be on record either limiting or expanding executive powers of the presidency.
Yeah, it's interesting how they came out and said, well, just let Congress do their job, so we're not going to rule on this. Maybe that's happened before. Maybe that's been a ruling by the Supreme Court, but I don't remember it. But it's interesting to have them say that. Since we're getting pretty close, let them just finish it up. Now, was this a decision by the full Supreme Court, or was this one of those ones where it has an expedited review by one member?
It was very good, Doug, because that oftentimes happens as well. But when they issue an order, it's one judge who is originally in charge of when an emergency appeal or order comes in, there's one judge that picks it up, but they all have to vote on it. They don't issue opinions, and they don't really tell you who they are, right? They just announce an opinion. So that's what's called the shadow docket. It's an interesting word. The shadow docket means these emergency rulings that are having increasingly relevant role in public policy, because the Supreme Court is essentially ruling without briefs, without oral arguments, without spending 10 months thinking about it. These emergency rulings can be done in a few days. And that's what happened in this situation. Last week, a federal judge, I think out of Massachusetts, told the Trump administration, that's it, stop dragging your feet. We want 100% of the SNAP benefits. Do it now. And obviously Donald Trump doesn't like to be told that. And he said, forget it. We're going to the Supreme Court. We're going to take it as one more. So they took one more appeal to say the lower court can't make us do this. In the meantime, everything should be stayed. The 65% payments should continue, these partial payments. And let's see if this budget problem impasse gets figured out. And that's essentially what happened. The Supreme Court literally said, if we don't have to do it, we won't. And it doesn't think that we do. So let's at least let this go on for a little longer. And, you know, either the states will make up the difference, or you'll come before us again with an emergency appeal. But right now, we don't feel like doing anything about it.
And as it seems, it could be well done before this show is over tonight. It looks like the
That's
budget's
right.
getting very close, and they're going to run it up to the president. I guess they actually do have to take the physical copy for the president to sign, right?
Yeah, but he won't use, what do they call them, auto pens?
Oh, the auto pens. Yes, I used to work an auto pen back in the day. Yeah.
Trump loves to sign his name. Do you ever notice that? He really likes when they film him. He has a nice signature, by the way, and he likes it. You know, so I think he would never use an auto pen.
No,
he likes signatures.
When I worked for the Senate, Benny, back in the 80s, we had an auto pen. You
I
literally
remember.
put a pen into a machine, and it would write the senator's name. Now this was like
really,
yeah. It literally the pen would go into the machine. You'd put the piece of paper in the right location, and it would write. Yeah, it wasn't just.
But wait, you're saying the pen would know how to do cursive writing?
Yes, because it was programmed to do that. Because we programmed it to follow his actual signature, and then
so it looks exactly like it.
Looks exactly like it. It was like nowadays you just print. You print someone's signature, but of course these weren't these weren't commutations or signing bills into law. This was congratulating, Mary Lou Sunsue for getting her I don't know, some award at school. Yeah, I think we could use
or I bet this happened to you. Someone made a call to Doug because he's had a man of influence, and he said we could use the senator writing a letter of recommendation to Penn State or University of Pittsburgh.
Right. We used to write letters of recommendations for just about anybody, and the last line was always consistent with your standard protocol while hiring someone. Yeah. Until some senator somewhere wrote a letter of recommendation for somebody who had recently murdered someone. So the senators decided we're done with recommendations.
Yeah, we should really take a better look at this.
No, right. Thankfully, that didn't happen to our office. It happened to another office. So that was the day's ending of writing letters of recommendation for people they never met. But not that do we ever go off topic on our conversations. I don't
Not
know,
here.
We go, who's better? We have tangents on conversations with Thane, and we have the similar types of conversations with our good friend Larry Magid.
Yes.
Who we still talk to from time to time. We're always off on various tangents. I think it makes the interviews.
I think the listeners like it.
Oh, I think they do
They
too.
love it, yes.
If I'm watching something and it's dry and bland, off it goes. But if you bounce around topics, I think it makes it more interesting.
If there's one thing we're not, Doug, it's dry and bland.
Who would know that Thane Rosenbaum was only a semi-thrifty? I thought he was full in. Oh, not thrifty.
Swifty.
Swifty.
Thrifty's people who go to thrift stores. Maybe he does go thrift shopping.
I am a thrifty. I love going to thrift stores. But
my children
Swifty.
would say he is definitely not thrifty.
And you can be thrifty and buy Taylor Swift tickets.
The 4 I bought for my daughters. Dear God. But that's a whole nother story, I suppose. Yeah, I guess the college tuition wasn't enough.
So let's hope she breaks up with Travis Kelce and dates a smart athlete. I don't know.
Exactly.
Not that Travis Kelce's
If that
not
happens,
smart.
you got to get me back on the show.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe she'll date Bill Bradley. Is he still kicking?
I don't think Bill's with us.
No, what a shame.
No, I don't think Bill's with us anymore. But it's interesting. I never heard somebody say that Taylor Swift should date Bill Bradley. That would that would be an interesting one. We have a Pirate pitcher,
Paul Skeens.
Paul Skeens, who was in the Air Force Academy at one point. For
and his girlfriend Thane. Oh boy,
yeah.
Look her up if you get a minute. Wow.
Oh yeah, I know what that is. That's the girl from LSU, right?
Yes,
she's a gymnast and quite a looker.
Yeah, I know who she is.
Skeens
but there's this enormous height differential.
Yes.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's enormous. Yeah, tall.
Yeah.
And he can throw 110 miles an hour, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
Pirates
No,
will have
I know exactly. who that she's now a social influencer.
Yeah, in fact, sometime this evening, he may well win.
He may win the
Cy
Cy Young. So he throws a baseball over 100 miles an hour. He's going to win the Cy Young, and he's dating the hottest woman on the planet. Not that we're jealous of Paul Skeens.
And he falls under the category of who, according to Thane Rosenbaum, could date Taylor Swift.
There's that, yeah.
That's
he's
right.
a smart guy.
Yeah, well,
Thane Rosenbaum, the thrifty, as I call him.
That's great. That's brilliant. Thrifty.
That's great.
He's not a thrifty.
No.
Oh, Lord.
We'll have to enter this conversation next year to win. The award Brian says I should keep going for, the Pennsylvania Broadcasters Association.
Or Murrow Award.
Which I never apply for. I just don't feel like I never bother doing it. So, hey, we enjoy this thing as always.
Anytime for
All
you
right,
guys.
buddy.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you, buddy.
Take
Thanks.
care. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to check in with Major Mike Lyons. Probably a much more serious conversation. We're going to talk to him about Veterans Day, his military career, you name it. But first, this is the Afternoon Drive Show on WMBS.
One of the most incredible architectural masterpieces in the United States is right here in Fayette County. And this fall is your chance to see the work being done to preserve this national treasure as work continues to fortify Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Water, a world-famous work of architecture that's on the UNESCO World Heritage List. Falling Water invites you to Fayette County Appreciation Day on Sunday, November 23rd to see their multi-year historic preservation effort in action, in addition to the always breathtaking home itself. Falling Water is offering free tours for Fayette County residents on Sunday, November 23rd. Book your free tour of Falling Water in advance by calling 724-329-8501. Falling Water's Preservation in Action tours will take place between 9:30 a.m. and 4 p.m. Be sure to make your reservation in advance and don't miss your chance to witness this once-in-a-lifetime preservation tour of Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Water.
The winners are in for the 2025 Best in Fayette contest presented by Nemacolin. You can pick up your free 2025-26 Best in Fayette book at the WMBS Broadcast House, the Uniontown Super 8, Casey Sports Cafe, the Uniontown Shop and Save, Perry Drug, Jackson Farms Dairy Store, Armstrong in Connellsville, the Casino at Nemacolin, Bittersweet Cafe, Neubauer's Market House, Uniontown Liquidation Outlet, and the River's Edge. See all the winners at bestinfayette.com.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Now is the perfect time to upgrade your outdoor area with a new fence from All Around Fence Company. Conveniently located at 7896 National Pike, Uniontown. All Around Fence has been installing quality residential, commercial, and farm fencing for more than 45 years. Offering residential fencing including chain link, decorative aluminum, steel, and more, All Around Fence has the fence for you. All Around Fence is also your one-stop shop for Nutrena products and also carries livestock, equine, and pet supplies. So if you need to upgrade an existing fence, add a new gate, or are considering the installation of an all-new fence, All Around Fence has the answers you need. Visit them Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 5 p.m. and Saturdays from 9 to 1, or give them a call at 724-439-0331. To learn more, visit allaroundfence.com.
Quality parts, accessories, paints, tools, and supplies. Napa Auto Parts complete line for cars, trucks, imports, and farm equipment. Napa Auto Parts keeps America running. Fayette Auto in Uniontown, Standard Auto in Brownsville, and Napa Auto in Bell Vernon and Monongahela carry premium quality auto parts at discount prices. They always have a huge inventory of parts in stock when you visit a Napa Auto Part location. Over 200,000 parts in stock. Ask about their Napa lifetime warranty on most items with a no-hassle return policy. Open weekends and evenings. In Brownsville, phone 724-785-3800. Bell Vernon, dial 724-929-5522. Monongahela, dial 724-258-3101. And in Uniontown, dial 724-437-7553 for Napa Auto Parts.
The Who bring us out of the break. Going mobile. Nick and I were just debating, is this a deep cut? No, I think this is...
No, I don't think. Well, you've heard of this, unlike the Stones jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah, I can't believe I never heard that song. I thought I knew every Stones song there was.
Always learning something new. That's a good thing.
Yeah, they seem to be doing okay, the Stones. They're still kicking.
I think they're a fad. Mick's going to retire eventually. Or no, I don't even think their career is going to take off.
McCartney
Kidding,
was
of
in
course.
Pittsburgh last night.
Was he?
At age 83.
Wow. I thought that was later in the month. I was thinking of going, but I would have to sell my car and all my valuables.
To go see Paul McCartney. And he plays the arena. He could fill the stadium three times over.
I'm sure it was a great show.
It always is. Hard to believe a guy's still kicking, not just kicking, but cranking it out as we continue to try to kill this fly in the studio.
It's driving me insane.
It is. Before he hangs up, as I always say when we go off on these tangents, joining us right now on the WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital talk line, retired Army Major, combat veteran, national security and military analyst, Major Mike Lyons. Major, thanks for joining us today. Belated happy Veterans Day to you, sir. We appreciate your service. Nick, I thought we had Major there.
I thought we did as well.
How about push that button down below?
All the buttons.
Yeah, Doug, I'm here.
There he is.
Yeah.
That's okay. Don't apologize. We can blame Nick, the producer. That's why there's producers.
No.
We can blame them.
I love those pre-conversations. All good. They're all good.
Yeah, we tend to go off on those. I thought for sure he hung up. The first time I always say if he's still with us, the guy actually hung up on us because he didn't want to hear. Well, as I mentioned a moment ago, belated Happy Veterans Day to you, and thank you for your service to our country. We wanted to talk to you not about a specific issue, but just about Veterans Day. And we interview folks. I get emails occasionally more than occasionally at radiosaltzman@gmail.com saying, tell us about these people you're always interviewing. And to get their background, and yours is rather unique. You're a fellow at the Modern War Institute at this point at West Point. How did you, as we talk about veterans and how they made their decisions, I used to talk to my dad occasionally. He rarely said anything about his military service. You chose to serve. My dad did not. He got a government-sponsored tour. My dad used to say he was drafted, went to Korea.
Right.
But you chose it. How did you just make that decision?
Yeah, boy, what a great question, and I appreciate you asking because, Veterans Day has evolved. I can tell you this. I joined the military back in the late 70s when I decided I wanted to go to the military academy. I wanted to be a West Point cadet, and just for no other reason than I thought the challenge was going to be spectacular. But if you remember back then, it wasn't a popular time to be in the military. We were coming off the Vietnam War. And back then, our country blamed the soldiers for what was going on there, which was completely wrong. It was entirely the fault of the politicians. And the Vietnam War was fought by officers that tried to fight it the same way they fought World War II. They didn't realize it was a completely new kind of way to fight. We never lost anything on the battlefield, but we lost politically, and we all know what's happened then. So I decided to join then. It was Jimmy Carter was president. Interest rates were 18%, and we were all concerned about the Russians. I was a cadet at West Point when Ronald Reagan gets elected, and the world changed, and it changed overnight when we had the hostages from the Iran issue, show up at West Point and had dinner with us, and from that point on, I watched the military, and Ronald Reagan in particular, restore the honor to be a soldier and to serve. And it took a long time. In some ways, it took 10 years. It took from that moment until the military, the Army in particular, was able to demonstrate it in Desert Storm and all our great capability. So for me, my father was in the Navy, and my son's in the Navy, so I completely failed as an Army parent, as I've said before. But I, the Army fit me, and back then, and it was a privilege to serve. It was a privilege to go to West Point. I still think I'd never get in today. That the standards are so high, the academics are so incredible, and so I'm just kind of blessed. I was born when I was born to go when I went.
Well, the standards back then were pretty darn good too. When I was always so amazed, it gave you faith in young people. And when I worked for the U.S. Senate and I helped coordinate, senators, of course, you have to get nominated.
Right.
By a member of the Senate or the Vice President or a member of the House. And I coordinated the committee for Arlen Specter, who met with the students and then made recommendations to the senator as to who he should recommend or nominate. And I was incredibly impressed. These kids would come in who were in high school, who had resumes and community involvement like they were a corporate CEO. Just absolutely forget the 4.7 grade point average. Just everything else they did from an athletic standpoint.
Yeah.
Just absolutely amazing to see those kids come through. And it's a special type of person who gets in that. And we were talking just a few moments ago about Pittsburgh Pirates pitcher Paul Skeens.
Yeah.
And people say how mature he is for a 22-year-old. Well, he was in the Air Force Academy at one point.
That's right.
And knuckleheads don't get into the academies. And,
I can tell you this. I never had a bad day in my life until I went to West Point, right? I was the guy in high school. I could show up and take a test and get 100, and the coach would draw a play up. We have to score a goal. Let's get it to Mike, and we'll score the goal. That was me. I never had a bad day. And then I get to West Point, and then I had multiple bad days in a row. I had multiple bad moments in a row within bad days in a row. So that the military academies, all of them, still test your mettle very much today, and it's all, you've got to do it for yourself. It's the only way that you'll get through there, and that still is the case today. And I see it every day. I see the best and brightest in our military academies. I see it at West Point. I'm actually teaching a class tomorrow to a bunch of West Point cadets, writing fellows. I hope I can impart some kind of wisdom on them. It's going to be called how to use your authorial voice, and how what you say matters, and how things like me talking to you on this radio show, and how I've learned how to do that, and I wasn't taught to do that, and how I do those kinds of things. So it's a really, I'm just very, it's worked out for me to have been a veteran in the military for sure.
Major Mike Lyons joining us, Nick Barczyk and Doug Saltzman. And Major, I'm just curious, you're a bright guy. I've talked to you, we've talked to you, and I've listened to you. How has your military service influenced your politics and your worldview? As someone, I have no experience, unfortunately, serving, but how do you think that has shaped your life and the way you look at the world and politics and just day-to-day life?
It's funny. I talked to a guy today, again, just about that topic, and I think from a military perspective, I look at politicians and say, who's going to keep us safe? Not just me, my family, and people I know, but just our country. I look. That's how I gauge what they believe in, and if they don't express that kind of confidence that they're going to keep us safe, then I'm probably not going to be aligned with that person. I'm always willing to pay more in taxes if I knew we were going to be safe, if I knew that the defense would be there. I know that our military today is much better than it was when I was even serving on active duty. I really believe that. And so that to me, that's probably the most how it affects my politics. I don't talk about fiscal conservatism and social libertarianism. That's so far out of my lane that I don't even go there. But I look at from a politician's perspective, if they're going to keep me safe, my family safe, and those I love safe, and our country safe, and I think that's the biggest measure of effectiveness.
I mean, I'm proud to be a taxpayer, but I'd be just as proud at half the price.
Yeah,
I think
amen to that.
I'd feel the same way about that as we talked with Major Mike Lyons about his military career and Veterans Day. We focused our show yesterday almost entirely on veterans, and we were speaking with Pittsburgh Steeler great Rocky Bleier. And he's a regular on our show, and we talked about his time in the military. And of course, he was drafted twice within about 16 months. Once by the Steelers in the 16th round.
16th. Back when they had that many rounds.
Not bad for a guy who wins 4 Super Bowls. And we talked about his career. And my brother and I have discussed the fact that we never served, and we feel guilty about that. But again, you chose at a tough time to go into the military. When we were in high school in the late 70s, that was not the time to enlist. And
I mean, Doug, right? You look at the hardship that Rocky Bleier endured, and frankly, it's on their shoulders, the Vietnam veterans, that we don't blame soldiers and sailors and airmen today for the crimes, really, of our politicians. The pendulum has swung where we thank people for their service, and I get embarrassed by it, frankly. I volunteered, and it was a privilege to serve, but it was on their shoulders, who came home. They weren't appreciated. They didn't have a leg up. They got doused with Agent Orange. We didn't take care of them. It's appalling, frankly, and I'm glad our country has recovered from that, and hopefully we never go back there again. But to me, it's the Vietnam veteran that deserves the most credit. They answered the call of duty when their country wanted to, and then our country turned their backs on them, which I think is just unfathomable.
When you think about the politicians running that war, as opposed to the generals. I've watched, read a lot of books, watched a lot of documentaries where Churchill and Roosevelt were fighting over where the bombers should go. Churchill wanted them to continue bombing Germany, and Roosevelt said the generals are telling me we need to bomb. We need at this point to bomb, send bombs into France, even though there'll be civilian casualties. And he would repeatedly tell Churchill, I need to leave it up to the commanders. And in that instance, he was leaving it up to Eisenhower to decide what's best.
Yeah, I was blessed also to be in combat with Dick Cheney as a Secretary of Defense, Colin Powell, Chairman, and a General Officer, Norman Schwarzkopf, that everybody knew clearly what the intent was. And we executed that mission in Desert Storm in 4 days on the ground as well as any Army could have, and routed what at that point was the fourth largest military in the world. And it was no match. I could tell you this, it was absolutely no match on the ground by the fourth day. The Iraqis they couldn't get away from us fast enough, and so I was fortunate that I had that experience. I don't think that this latest generation had that same experience. I think that they were somewhat held back. I feel terrible about that, and I think it's affected us. I think it's affected our military, and I think that we're going to have to win some of this younger generation back. I think Pete Hegseth's doing a pretty good job. Recruiting is up, but it's going to take a little bit more time.
Yeah, as our listeners know, and anybody from this region knows, our station is located literally a block away from where George Marshall grew up. Yeah. And of course, General George Marshall from right here in Uniontown, and the impact he had. Frankly, I think he won World War II. He took an army, a military of a few 100,000, and built it into 12 million at a time when you couldn't exactly do things quickly on a computer. The fact what he was able to accomplish and did not go for the glory. He was not holding news conferences. He was not. They're not making movies about him. His impact was amazing. They should make movies.
Well, he also, no question, he was the invisible hands. He was a talent evaluator. Is really what he was. He figured out who to put the right people in the right spot. He put Ike where he was at. He knew he couldn't sideline Pat, and he put Bradley in the right spot. But General Marshall had an industrious career that went beyond just us winning the Second World War and the Marshall Plan, and he clearly had an impact for a generation plus, well into this century with regard to what he did. So I hear you. He's definitely not. They're not doing a lot of movies about him. But there's no question that if you look at historically, you can't go into any of those presidential libraries, Eisenhower's and Truman's, and not see incredible tribute to General Marshall.
And you mentioned movies. This is kind of hokey, but do you have a favorite war movie or military movie? Saving Private Ryan's
it's got to be Saving Private Ryan, and it's because
so
I'll tell you why. Though here's the thing: where they got that thing right was the sky. Boy, when I watched that movie, the sky in a combat zone has this certain look to it, and they got that right, and it's because of all of the ammunition and because of all the ordnance and the smoke and everything, and that brought it back for me. Was that part of that movie? And I mean, no one could ever have the courage of Captain John Miller and that squad he did during that operation. But that's why that movie to me. And then that sacrifice that was made. June 6, 1944, the most significant day in the 20th century, bar none. Had that day gone any different, had the U.S. and Allied forces been thrown back into the British Channel, the world's a different place right now. So that's the most important day.
Yeah, when that movie came out, they interviewed men who stormed the beaches, and they said, I never thought they could reenact it so accurately in a movie.
Right.
And they said they did.
The first 20 minutes of that film is astonishing.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
There's a scene in that movie that sticks with me, and you can't shake it. A guy has his arm blown off, and he picks it up, and he's running along holding his own arm, one hand and his gun in the other, and that's war, and
exactly.
It's one of those like I'm not going to shake that image. I knew at the moment I saw it, I'm not going to shake that image.
Band of Brothers too. That was another great series, and just being a soldier and the daily grind, and like I said, my personal motto is endure the hardship, and that's what you have to do when you're in those kind of situations.
Yeah. There's not that we're off on movies. There's a movie called Ike, Countdown to D-Day, which stars Tom Selleck. Doesn't show any war footage or war scenes, but it's just the planning behind the scenes, and his constant interaction with Churchill gave you some idea of how the respect Churchill had for him, and realized that his own generals were just too full of themselves at time, including, of course, General. For heaven's sakes, the British general.
Montgomery.
Monty. He said Monty's too full of his own image. as they were picking Eisenhower to be the one. And it's being president of the United States is the most powerful position on the planet, except how many presidents were more powerful in a previous role? And they said that of course, Eisenhower was more powerful as the supreme commander of all Allied forces in the European theater of operations, more powerful in that position than, say, Caesar or even Alexander.
Sure.
It's just absolutely amazing the power he had and how he pulled it off.
Right, and what they were afraid of MacArthur, obviously, when they thought he was going to run for president. They thought he was a Democrat or Republican. They thought he was going to run in the 50s. But the United States has been blessed with tremendous generals. Go back to the Civil War era. Go back to Revolutionary War. We've had, Lincoln finally found his general in U.S. Grant after in final pursuit of Robert E. Lee, and then same thing in World War II. So we've been fortunate that we've had the right people in the right spot at the right time. General Schwarzkopf, I think, is another example of that. Probably, again, in the last 20 years, there's been a couple of swings and misses there on the general officer side, and maybe that's why the situation ended in Afghanistan the way it did. And same with Iraq. I think Iraq should have been ended differently as well.
Yeah. As we talked with Major Mike Lyons on this day after Veterans Day 2025, the president the other day said we should start calling it Victory Day. And naturally, it wasn't a slap at veterans, but this idea of the importance of realizing that ultimate victory is the ultimate victory. The days of unconditional surrender when Japan said, okay, we'll surrender, but we'd like some conditions. And they said, no. And that's, I guess, how wars, what little understanding I have of them, that's how wars have to be fought. The goal is to win.
Yeah. And I think that's part of the problem in the last 20 years. We haven't had that conclusion to these conflicts. And, the days of, the Japanese surrendering on the battleship Missouri are over, and which is what Israel's demanding now of Hamas. They want unconditional surrender. But the Veterans Day in and above itself, the 11th hour, 11th day, the 11th month is when it signifies, and it signified the end of the Great War, and that was the last war that was going to happen. And little did we know that the deal to end that war turned out causing the Second World War. But I think it's good enough for that, and studying warfare back from World War I. And Trump's a marketer for sure. He's going to come up with something to rebrand it in his image. But I think most veterans are happy with Veterans Day and are very appreciative. And the fact that it's come a long way. I mean, one more quick story. When I was in the military back in the 80s, when I told people I was in the military, people would say to me, I didn't think anybody did that anymore. And we didn't really celebrate Veterans Day. And now veterans are just embarrassing. We have an embarrassment of riches with regard to how people treat us, and I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, and the way it was, when you think about, at one point, John Kerry was running for president, and he mentioned during a campaign stop that we have to start waging a more sensitive war. Which was one of the great lines in presidential, a sensitive war. Dick Cheney went after that one. We spent a lot of time recently talking about Dick Cheney following his death. And the role he had, my gosh, he was chief of staff to President Ford at age 36. I mean, think about it. Of course, now we have a press secretary who does a darn good job for the president, and she's what, 8? She's
not even in her 30s. So
right,
no,
She's does a phenomenal job. Well, we appreciate everyone's service. Major, we appreciate your joining us today. We thank you for your service. It's been a very interesting conversation. We should do more of these with our guests on the show so people get to know them and not when they're talking. Sorry about the game last night. Didn't go well for the Black Knights against Duke.
No, listen, I was there. It was a lot of fun seeing that crowd, and then they got a taste of West Point. But that we never expected to win that. So
in the Army. I was just going to say the Army-Navy football game is such a spectacle. Already can't wait for next month. I'm sure you love it as well, Major.
Yeah, I've been going my whole life. I was going before I was a cadet, and literally my whole life, and it defines me in
it's the
some
best.
ways.
It's so good.
So it's a really privilege talking to both you guys, and anytime I can help you guys out, I would do that. It's
likewise is a understatement, so thanks so much.
Thank you, sir.
All righty, have a good evening.
Perfect.
Thanks,
Okay,
Major.
take care.
Great guy.
Major Mike Lyons, wow, and terrific guy. I saw combat. He's now teaching at West Point after going to West Point when he said the academics weren't that strict back then.
They
please.
sure were, yeah.
They've always been strict at West, at any of the academies.
They don't even let me drive by some of those schools.
Oh, my heavens. Let's take a break and wrap up hour number 2.
Join the Case Foundation on November 28th at the Uniontown Country Club for a night of glamour as they celebrate a night at the Oscars with all proceeds benefiting area youth sports. Tickets for the formal adult prom are $70 for single tickets or $125 for couples. The gala will feature a live DJ, 50-50 raffle, red carpet with a professional photographer, and more. Get your tickets today by calling 724-434-9061. Don't miss this fun night and opportunity to support local youth sports.
Chris Parker Jr., Trick or Treat is over. What's going on at Autoland?
Treats continue here at Autoland with 0% for 60 months on all 25 Tucsons and Santa Fe's.
0% for 60 months?
That's right, 0% for 5 years on the award-winning all-wheel drive Tucson and Santa Fe's with third-row seating, plus 0% on the hybrid Tucson and Santa Fe's. Don't want 0% financing? Choose HMF Bonus Cash up to $4,500 on Santa Fe's. Winter weather is coming. Now's the time to get your all-wheel drive SUV with 0% financing and have a vehicle big enough for the family and hauling gifts. Did you know Hyundai is also the most awarded brand by the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety for the past 2 years?
And every new Hyundai purchase includes Hyundai Assurance, America's Best Warranty, 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain protection, and 3-year free complimentary maintenance. Autoland Hyundai, downtown Uniontown, or online at AutolandHyundai.com.
And you always pay less to drive the best at Autoland Hyundai.
And that's a wrap for hour number 2. We'll send this off to the Museum of the Afternoon Drive show, which means Facebook if you want to hear any of the interviews we do. And that was a good one. Not because we did a nice job, but because he did such a great job. News is...
House vote to end government shutdown.
The president is ready to sign this bill as soon as it is passed.
House Democrats release Epstein emails.
Epstein wrote about Trump, quote, "Of course he knew about the girls."
Federal judge in Chicago orders
hundreds of people detained by ICE should be released.
This is the CBS World News Roundup Late Edition. I'm Jennifer Kuiper. In earlier debating in the U.S. House before a vote on a funding bill to end the shutdown, Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin says on the floor,
"It is an affront to everyone who believes that we in public office must be the servants of the people."
Republican Congressman Mike Lawler counters.
This shutdown was never about health care. It was always about appeasing a far-left radical base.
CBS's Nicole Killian on Capitol Hill.
While Speaker Johnson remains confident that he has the votes to clear this message, it really will be on him to carry this vote because the Democratic leader has indicated that Democrats are strongly opposed to this measure precisely because it does not include any type of measure to deal with these expiring subsidies under the Affordable Care Act.
House Democrats have released 3 emails that appear to show convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein believed President Trump knew more about his conduct than the president has acknowledged. CBS's Scott McFarland.
One from 2011, one from 2019 are underscored by the Democrats here, in which Epstein says that Trump in 2011 spent hours at my house. That was what he communicated in a 2011 email. In 2019, to an author, Epstein wrote, "Of course he knew about the girls," as he asked Ghislaine to stop.
The White House says the email release creates a fake narrative to smear the president. Congresswoman Adelita Grijalva becomes the 218th lawmaker to sign a petition to trigger a House vote to release the Epstein files. This comes shortly after she was sworn in by House Speaker Mike Johnson, more than 7 weeks after she won a special election in Arizona to fill her late father's seat.
Basic freedoms are under attack. Healthcare premiums are skyrocketing. Babies are being ripped away from their parents by masked agents. We can and must do better.
A federal judge in Chicago issues several orders that could soon lead to the release of thousands of immigration detainees.
Attorneys for the detainees say they worry that some now subject to release either have been deported or have self-deported. Mark Fleming at the National Immigration Center says,
"The government is having to concede that, yes, they have been consistently violating the consent decree."
The judge says the arrests by ICE were possibly unlawful, and he has ordered the government to produce a list of people that could include about 3,000 individuals. Allison Keyes, CBS News.
Stocks closed mixed on Wall Street. Now this.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
439-2323. For 24-hour emergency service, call us when you need. We're Fayette's Heating and Air Conditioning, your service company.
Be prepared for bone-chilling winter weather. Have Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning install a Bryant high-efficiency furnace in your home to replace that old worn-out system you now have. Choose Bryant's Plus 90 gas furnace or other quality heating system to keep yourself and your family warm and toasty this winter. Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning will also keep your present furnace running at peak efficiency with their 15-point safety check and cleaning. Call Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning today for your appointment. 724-439-2323. That's Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, your Bryant dealer, Route 119 north of Uniontown, located near Laurel Mall.
Call Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, 439-2323, 439-2323, 439-2323, 439-2323.
Pure Talk.
Research published in the journal Science Translational Medicine finds a common virus is responsible for triggering lupus in hundreds of thousands of Americans. CBS's Michael Toscano on what that may mean for treating the disease.
Stanford University professor of medicine Bill Robinson says their work shows the root cause of lupus is the Epstein-Barr virus.
95% of us are infected with it.
He says Epstein-Barr triggers immune cells to assault the body's tissues, mostly in women with a genetic predisposition.
The U.S. Mint in Philadelphia has struck America's last penny. CBS's Christopher Cruz tells us how some companies plan to deal without it.
McDonald's and Burger King are rounding up or down to the nearest 5 cents. Auntie Anne's, Cinnabon, Jamba Juice, and Wendy's are recommending that their franchisees round cash transactions in the customer's favor. The decision to stop making pennies was made in recognition of the growing irrelevance of the coin and to save money. It costs almost 4 cents to make a penny.
You're listening to the CBS World News Roundup.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today.
Visit mintmobile.com/radio. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Kohl's has 20% off gifts that are so good, your family might think you read their minds. Check off your list now with cozy, thoughtful, and stylish gifts that will make them say, oh, how did you know? Yep, with these presents from Kohl's, you're going to leave them feeling impressed and convinced that you're a psychic. Shop Kohl's for an extra 20% off gifts that are the perfect fit. Select styles. Offer ends November 22nd. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohls.com for details.
With an end to the government shutdown on the horizon, there's some concern about the accuracy of delayed data reports, including the survey used to determine unemployment. People will be asked,
on this certain week that was 2 months ago, did you have a job?
And that recollection could be hazy. Chicago Federal Reserve Bank President Austin Goolsbee says that the Fed needs to look at maximizing employment and stabilizing prices. So when it comes to its next meeting and whether to cut its key interest rate,
in a period where you can't get a reading on either of those, I'm personally a little bit wary taking big actions when you're in the dark like that.
The late British anthropologist and revered wildlife advocate Jane Goodall is remembered during her funeral at Washington National Cathedral by conservationists, including actor Leonardo DiCaprio.
She could light up a room with her stories and somehow inspire everyone she met to believe that they individually could do better.
Goodall died October 1st at age 91. Time on the roundup, 7 minutes past the hour.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Mountaintop Title and Notary can handle all of your motor vehicle and PennDOT needs, such as titles, plates, renewal, registrations, and all notary needs. Tina Nicholson of Mountaintop Title and Notary can also handle ATV and boat titles and also does income taxes. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4:30, and appointments can be made for after hours and Saturdays. Mountaintop Title and Notary with a new location at 655 Nelson Road in Farmington, the only place you need to go for all title, notary, and tax work. Call Tina at 724-984-1514 for the most professional services around.
A new survey finds hardly anyone can tell when music is AI generated. More from CBS's Michael Wallace.
The polling firm Ipsos had 9,000 people in the U.S. and 7 other countries listen to 2 songs made with AI and 1 made by humans. 97% could not tell which was which.
Dust on the wind. Boots on the ground.
In June, the band Velvet Sundown went viral on Spotify, only to confirm a month later its songs were generated by AI. Spotify is now encouraging artists and publishers to voluntarily disclose when they use AI to produce their music. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
3 paintings from public television legend Bob Ross have sold for over $600,000 at a Bonhams auction in L.A. They're part of a collection of 30 works being sold to support public TV stations affected by federal funding cuts. That's the World News Roundup Late Edition for Wednesday, November 12th, 2025. I'm Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News.
Take the fact book.
Caring for an aging parent or a loved one with medical needs? FACT, Fayette Area Coordinated Transportation, can help. Seniors 65 and older ride free on our fixed routes. People with disabilities get discounted shared rides. And if your loved one has medical assistance, their trips to doctors or treatment are covered under the shared ride program. Give them safe, reliable independence and yourself peace of mind. Call 724-628-RIDE or visit factbus.com. FACT, your community, your connection.
Does your car sound like it's saying, "Trade me in, trade me in," every time you start it up? Well, go to Ford of Uniontown and trade it in. That's right, your Uniontown Ford dealer is ready to assist you with a new or pre-owned car, truck, or SUV purchase. Ford of Uniontown has all the deals, all the inventory, and they are ready to deal. It has never been a better time to buy a Ford. Service is their top priority. No matter where you purchased your Ford car or truck, Ford of Uniontown will be happy to service it for you. They offer Ford-trained technicians, Ford-certified parts and service, 1-year, 12,000-mile parts warranties, and new state-of-the-art service equipment. Call or stop in today to see the hometown service of Ford of Uniontown, Route 40 West across from Applebee's. So listen to your car the next time you hear it say, "Trade me in, trade me in." Ford of Uniontown, Route 40 at the top of the hill.
There's no place like home, and no thing like winning. Starting Thursday, just be the 6th caller to 724-438-4593 whenever you hear.
Oh, there's no place like home for the holiday.
And you'll win $30 worth of Snow Place Like Home scratch-off tickets from the Pennsylvania Lottery, with festive fun and 10 top prizes of $20,000. Play today and let it snow winnings. Benefits older Pennsylvanians every day. Must be 18 or older to play. Please play responsibly.
Attention Medicare eligible recipients. The Medicare open enrollment period for 2026 runs from October 15th until December 7th. This is the time to call local agent Brenda Myers at 724-437-7255 and let her show you the various Medicare Advantage plans and Part D prescription drug plans and see which best fits your current healthcare needs and your budget. Brenda will also update you on the changes for 2026 and how they will affect you. With many years' experience, Brenda Myers can help you decide which plan will work best for you. Brenda Myers has been helping Medicare beneficiaries with their health care insurance for many years and represents a variety of companies to offer you more choices. This open enrollment period is your opportunity to make changes to your health care plan and save money. Call Brenda Myers today at 724-437-7255. That's 724-437-7255 for Brenda Myers.
I don't often say you want to go back and hear an interview we've done, but the one Nick and I just did with Major Michael Lyons was a goodie.
It was.
A good one. So check that one out a little later this evening. It'll be on our Facebook page.
And not an oldie but goodie. We literally just did it, so it's a newie.
Exactly. How can anybody feel sentimental about something that just happened?
What's the need for 1 hour photo, which is a dated reference? I'm sure nobody under 40 gets that. That was a Carlin bit, of course. He was raving about, ranting and raving about 1 hour photo. You just saw the bleeping thing. Who needs to see it?
Yeah. How can you be sentimental with something that just happened?
Yes. And why do you need to take a picture of everything? Does anyone just, I don't know, remember anything anymore?
I was at a store recently, and they had an entire table of disposable cameras. Remember those?
Were they selling for a nickel?
No, they were new, and they had new designs on them. That was a thing back in the day. If folks don't remember what that was, it was a camera that was the size of like a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah.
That was cardboard, and they were disposable. You'd take the whole camera to the drugstore.
I guess there are people out there without smartphones with cameras. God love them. I wish I didn't have to have one.
It's like a young hip store at a mall. I was surprised.
Well, that's counterculture. Young people like vinyl.
Yeah.
They want to go against the grain.
That was when we got married many moons ago. We had one of those on every table.
Yeah.
And we had a little thing, a little tent. We had please feel to take pictures of each other. Don't take pictures of the bride and groom. We'll have plenty of those.
Have you seen the King of Queens episode where Doug takes the camera into the bathroom and takes a picture of his man part? And that's his joke because he's bored to death at this wedding. So he takes a picture of himself.
Oh,
and then,
I was going to say, what's the connection here? Okay.
Yeah, with the disposable camera at a wedding, a disposable camera at the wedding. This was before cell phones, and they're reading through the pictures, and the bride's grandma stumbles on the. They don't show it, but she said, "Oh my Lord, it's a picture of a man's," and she collapses on the couch, and he's like mortified, and the episode goes on. It's hysterical. So yes, he takes a disposable camera at the wedding, does that. It's a hilarious episode.
And
I'm sure it's on cable one of these days.
What show is this?
King of Queens.
Oh, King of Queens,
starring Jerry Stiller.
Right, that's a good.
Of course,
show.
George's dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see him in anything, and not George's dad who's dead.
Yeah.
But the guy who was the star of that show, I can't think of his name.
Oh, King of Queens?
Yes.
Kevin James, first namer.
Right.
He's around. He's done some bad movies. No offense, but I think they are.
I've been wanting to mention this, and I should have mentioned it 2 weeks ago. When somebody in our industry passes, especially well-known ones, I like to bring it up. And I forgot to bring this one up, speaking of famous people. A DJ out of Philadelphia who'd been with the same station. And as you know, in our industry, folks tend to bounce around quite a bit.
Yeah.
But this William Pierre Robert died on October 29, 2025, an American radio disc jockey and on-air personality for WMMR in Philadelphia. Spent 44 years with the station from 1981 until his death just last month. Originally from Philadelphia, his time slot was about 11 o'clock to 3 every day. And prominent MMR personality, sometimes described as a hippie by the locals. And he had that hippie look going with the long, stringy hair. Often addressed listeners as citizens and saying, "Great day in the morning." He interviewed several American rock industry legends over the years, held in high esteem by rock musicians and groups including John Bon Jovi, Dave Grohl, Eddie Vedder, many of whom granted Robert rare interviews or appeared in person on his program. So sorry to see him go. A legendary guy. Never met him, but obviously well-known in rock and roll. Speaking of rock and roll stations here, and there's a few here in this region.
Yeah.
Bill Crawford's on one of those stations.
Yes.
He's announced he's leaving.
Is that right?
Because he wants to devote his entire career to a stand-up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Getting out of the radio business to do stand-up comedy.
Now he's always done it, but now he wants to devote full-time to it because he's a regular on that other station in the morning.
Oh, I see.
So now we could probably get him on this show.
Absolutely. He'd love to come on. He could do a stand-up. He could come in and entertain us.
That's right. And he's one of those comedians. You don't have to fake laughter because he actually is funny.
Wow.
So good luck to Bill Crawford, even though was at another station. He's decided to move on and commit himself full-time.
What will Randy Bauman do with his millions of dollars?
He'll be okay.
He'll be all right. We won't say what station he's on, but I'm sure anyone listening knows.
Would know what his. We always wanted to get on, who also used to be on that station years ago, but he's traveling the country and having a blast. My God, his name's blanking out.
Sean McDowell.
Sean McDowell, thank you
He's
very
visiting Janis Joplin's grave as we speak,
Yeah,
I'm sure, and taking pictures.
Yeah, or he's somewhere. He's having a very good life at this point.
Yes, he's enjoying himself.
As he should. A lot of great guys came out of rock and roll stations over the years, and that's the biggie locally. I remember as a kid there was a station, 13Q, which is now 1320 AM, which I think is a conservative talk station.
Yeah.
But it was the last really AM rock station in Pittsburgh.
Right.
And tell you what, if you remember radio stations that aren't around anymore, give us a call on the WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital talk line 724-438-4593. We don't ever plan to have this radio station be one of those stations that isn't around anymore.
Never. This place is on the air long after we're all gone.
Yeah, and
that's the hope.
It's been around forever. We're up to year 87.
We're in the 80s, upper 80s, I believe, 33. So do the math. 1933 to 2025.
Help me with this.
Help me, Rhonda.
82.
82.
87.
I thought we were. No.
We're older than that. Figure that out, Nick. But
we're pushing 90.
724-438-4593.
No. Wait. We're 88.
How embarrassing that we don't know this, Nick.
I know. It's 88, right?
Yeah. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go with that then.
Yes, 88.
88 years young, one of those dumb terms. No, when you're 88 years, you're old.
Yeah, and there's no shame in that.
I'm not old. I'm 62. I'm getting old.
Yeah, you're in the
but
fourth
I don't
quarter.
Think I'm good. But
you're in the autumn of your years.
If you remember those old stations around the region on the WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital talk line 724-438-4593. 13Q was a rock station AM, and if you look on, they have a website, they've got a Facebook page, and I remember when I was a kid, if you put a bumper sticker on your car, and they had this, they called it the Tijuana taxi that drove around, had 13Q written all over it. If they come up behind your car, saw that bumper sticker, and blew their horn, got you to pull over, you'd win $1,300.
Wow!
So I put a bumper sticker on my dad's bright red Chevy station wagon.
Sure, he loved that.
And when he went to take it off, it took a perfect rectangle of paint off the off the tailgate. Didn't go over well.
No,
with Dad.
He called you Douglas Christopher,
as you might guess. Yeah, that didn't go over very well. They would also call you at home, and if you answered the phone, I listened to the new sound of 13Q.
They would call you.
They'd call. They would just take random calls, random numbers out of the phone book. They'd call. If you answered the phone that way, you'd win $1,300. And of course, this is the days long before caller ID, so you literally had to answer every single call. I listened to the new sound of 13Q, and I think joining us right now on the WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital talk line, local historian, Frank LaCava. Frank, we knew you'd be calling in, and we're going to have you on as a regular guest at some point. But the old radio stations around the area, and there were a lot of them, and we're the rarity. We're still kicking here, family-owned all these years.
Yes. Well, I remember 13Q, and it was the launching pad for Jim Quinn, the Mighty Quinn.
Right.
And if you went to the record stores, and it was a local chain, I'm sure you'll remember National Record Mart.
National Record Mart, absolutely.
You could pick up a little folder, and it was had the top 20, I believe, for that week. And it was published by 13Q.
Right. It was a little trifold thing about the size of a half a notebook, and it would have the top 20 national songs, the top 10 songs 13Q was playing, the top 10 albums, the top 10 singles. A friend of mine still has a couple of those, but you could get them at National Record Mart. I remember getting them at a store called Grant City.
Why didn't you just Google all this information? Oh, wait.
Back in the day.
Right. Yeah.
But but a friend of mine still has a few of those. She hung on to them all these years, but you're right.
Yeah, I have some, and it would have a picture of one of the DJs, and it was, a weekly thing. It was cool to have those in school and talk about, just hearing a new song. I think it's called Smoke on the Water.
Yeah.
And, it's got this really heavy riff. But the real hippie station from that day and age was an FM station, WYDD.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And they were totally unscripted.
Right. Wasn't that a Braddock? YDD? One of them was actually
I'm not exactly sure.
Is that where Limbaugh started?
It was FM.
Jeff Christie.
It was when rock started going FM, and YDD had, my favorite was a guy named Ford Schenkel.
Sure.
Who I think might still be in the Pittsburgh market. Years ago, when I was running the Toll House Museum for the County Historical Society, he and his wife came in. They had a boat up at the Yacht, and I recognized his voice, and he did some of the promos for me and talked about how smoky it was often in that station, and
it wasn't
how
from cigarettes.
Their unscripted, yes, format. I remember hearing 8 Miles High for the first time on YDD.
Now, was the song called 8 Miles and you were high, or was it 8 Miles High?
No. I was 15 years old. It was the Byrds, 8 Miles High. And
the Byrds.
The song is so layered with vocals and instrumental music. To me, it was like being on an airplane flight, and it was. It was about the airplane flight they made to England. They were the first group to go over to England after the British invasion. The first American group to go back. They had a disastrous tour, but they wrote a song about their experiences. And interestingly enough, it was more lyrically sophisticated at the time than anything Dylan had done, and musically more sophisticated than anything the Beatles had done. Roger McGuinn was copying Miles Davis's horn lines and John Coltrane's horn lines on his 12-string. Yeah. 8 Miles High is one of the great songs of the era.
And here it is. We'll play a little bit of it right here as we talk.
Sure.
Local historian, of course.
Yeah. Well, I'll get off the air and just let the song go.
No, stay on with us here as we talk about old-time radio. Yeah, WYDD. Yeah,
there we go.
Great tune.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. David Crosby, Roger McGuinn, Gene Clark, Chris Hillman.
I feel mellow already.
Many years ago, I was at a concert at the old Syrian Mosque in Oakland, and I told this story before. There was such a small turnout for it. They took it from upstairs down into the basement, which was like a ballroom, and it was Roger McGuinn from the Byrds was there. He was singing, and Alvin Lee in 10 Years After, and Magic Carpet Ride.
Steppenwolf.
Steppenwolf. Those were the three groups playing in this ballroom. It was the loudest concert
John
ever.
Cale. Cale. John Cale?
No, not John Cale, but the lead singer for Steppenwolf.
Kay.
John Kane,
Kay
Steppenwolf,
was
that's right.
Yeah,
so
John Kay.
that was the time I saw Roger McGuinn from the Byrds, but yeah, that old station WYDD was legendary for guys, and they played music you didn't hear nowadays. My gosh, everything's corporate owned. We're not, and you listen to local stations. I swear you could play a bingo game with the songs because they play the same ones over and over and over again.
Speaking there were a lot of album cuts, what they now call deep cuts on YDD. DVE is the station that came up with the format and just sort of created, a constant top 40 or 50 songs you'd hear over and over again. And I can't think of there was, it was like a service that came out of, I believe, California that tried to do demographic studies, and of course the denouement of that was hearing Stairway to Heaven at least once a day.
And at some stations, and I like the song, but sometimes, if I hear Hotel California played one more time on some of these,
or the stations, Eagles in general, I love them, but enough.
They play them over and over, and they don't even introduce the songs anymore because they're playing the same ones over and over. It would look silly if they kept saying the same names of the same songs all the time.
Yeah, it's become mind-numbing, and the real double shot, I don't know if you remember, the real double shot was the A and the B side of a single.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And, you think of some of the singles like Let's Spend the Night Together, flip side, Ruby Tuesday.
Yeah, the Stones, baby.
I mean, what a single.
I know.
Or Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane. That was the real double shot. And you don't hear B-sides much anymore on the radio.
No.
In fact, we should start doing that. We should have
B-side radio.
Yeah,
B-side Wednesdays with Doug and Nick.
Nick and I.
Right. What's the B-side, for instance, of Painted Black?
Great question.
A real blues song, Long, Long While.
Oh, all right.
One of the best songs the Stones ever did. They spent a lot of time listening to the Wicked Pickett writing that. Wilson Pickett, you know.
Yeah, we're talking with Frank LaCava, local historian here, on every topic you can imagine. But yeah, the classic radio stations of the past that were always local, and now they're all nationally owned, and they can't they can't program their own music. There's the great song "The Last DJ."
Tom Petty?
By Tom Petty,
it's a
sings
great
about
one.
The Last DJ.
Here's the Stones' Long, Long While for Frank.
Wow.
The B-side of Painted Black?
That is a blues tune.
That is. Oh, the Stones love blues. Very influenced by the blues.
Yeah, this is a good one too. Hey Frank, you pop up on our show once in a while, and we appreciate that. We will schedule as a real guest sometime.
You can just do the show every week.
That's right. You just come on in.
I've had enough of Doug, frankly.
Yeah,
It's enough
we
already.
look at each other after 10, 11
Well,
years.
you know, we've got a real local issue now with that Dollar General, you know, that's going to be built on the front lawn of a trophy house next to BF. If you want a local issue, I can tell you a bit about that.
Yeah,
we'll have you
we
back
could
on
stick
to
to
talk
fun
about
stuff like music. Yeah.
Yeah, we like the low key, relaxed stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I can be laid back and, you know, 60s and 70s rock, 80s, into the punk era, you know, I can talk about.
Yeah, with the Rock Hall of Fame, which I've been to many times over the years, including just a few months after it first opened, and Nick and I have been talking years about going up to doing a show at the
They keep
Rock Hall
denying
of
our
Fame.
requests, but
Yeah, we people. I've gotten emails from people saying, "You keep talking about it, for crying out loud, just do it."
we got to
We'll
just
go
drive
up to the Rock Hall of
Yeah.
Fame someday and do a show from up there. It'd be a lot of fun. And we'll have you on as a guest then. We can talk about the rock and roll in this area, the bands that are around and still around. And there's some great bands that last a long time. Joe Grishecki, my gosh, has been around forever and a day. And
yeah, the Clarks
Well,
have been
the
around.
great band from this area, the Shondells.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
Tommy
that's-
James's backup group. And when they reformed as the Crystal Blue Band, I was writing for the Connellsville Courier, and I did that story. I got to meet Eddie Gray and Mike Vale from the bass player from Jeanette.
yeah, Crystal Blue Persuasion is one of those great songs that everybody hears.
He was
Crimson
the
and Clover.
co-author. He was the co-author, and Eddie Gray was, I believe, a Clover.
There, he's still with us there. Hey,
But they were from this area, and their story is a great story, by the way.
yeah, there's some great bands from this area, and some of the great rockers nationally are friends with local guys. You hear the stories about Springsteen and Joe Grishecki being good buddies, and not just some hokey Hollywood friendship. These are friends that hang out together. It's kind of cool stories when you think about that. And how many hits a band like Tommy James and the Shondells had? 17 top 40 hits in their career.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff. Hey, thanks so much. We appreciate, Frank, your calling in. I'll be in touch, I promise you.
Great listening to you guys. Have fun.
All
Thanks,
right,
Frank. Have a
thanks so
great
much.
night, buddy. Thanks.
We're going to get that
Bye-bye.
CBS News update coming up here in about 15 seconds. We come back. We're going to talk some polling with our good friend Marjorie Conley from AP Nork, the latest on what folks think about the president. I don't think the results will surprise you, but that'll be coming up here as we wrap up the last part of the show.
CBS News Brief. The House will vote on a bill that, if passed, would end the government shutdown. House Majority Leader Steve Scalise.
This bill today is about ending the misery Democrats created on families. That is just about funding the government.
The House Oversight Committee releases documents from the Jeffrey Epstein estate. Ted Lieu is vice chair of the House Democratic Caucus.
They show that Donald Trump knew about Jeffrey Epstein's pedophilia ring and that Donald Trump spent hours with an underage victim. More emails are being released.
President Trump has denied any wrongdoing and has not been charged. A new study from Stanford University finds that Epstein-Barr virus is directly responsible for triggering an autoimmune disease. Study senior author Bill Robinson.
This common virus, EBV, appears to infect the key autoreactive cells and drive people to get lupus.
CBS News Brief. I'm Jennifer Kuiper.
Zen's Antiques and Home Decor, part of the Cinder Shack family of vendors where you can find both antique and new furniture, collectibles, housewares, gift items including jewelry and candles, and so much more. Follow Zen's Antiques and Home Decor on Facebook for new items and information on upcoming events. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor in Building 2 at 3391 National Pike in Farmington. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor.
As the gift-giving season gets closer and near, our quaint little shop is filled with gift-giving cheer. These shelves overflowing from floor to top tier. Stop, browse, and shop. You'll think Santa's been here. Gifts made for giving or something just for yourself. You pick it, we'll wrap it, like having your own personal elf. Strap, 34 South Street in downtown Uniontown. Holiday-themed jewelry, fun fashion turquoise, handbags, boots, accessories, candles, gifts, and lots more. All wrapped up in a nice shopping environment. Very modest pricing, unique selections, friendly customer service, and fun hospitality. Tuesday through Friday from 11 to 5 and Saturdays from 10 to 3. Our 4th annual Boots, Bags, and Bling Holiday Shopping Open House is on Saturday, December 6th from 11 to 5. Refreshments, door prizes, a fun-filled event, and everyone is welcome. Strap, 34 South Street in downtown Uniontown. 724-557-6184. Shop small, shop local, shop tangible, shop Strap.
It's a new day at WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital, and we're bringing a new level of quality health care to our community. From primary care to specialty services, our team has always put patients first. And now, thanks to our merger with WVU Medicine, our commitment to patient-centered care has grown even stronger. With new resources, a growing staff, and advanced technology, our team is here to provide you with top-quality care when it matters most. Discover the new Uniontown Hospital and see how we've grown.
Route 21 Furniture, take the road to your perfect home.
Sleep well tonight. Try out a new mattress from Route 21 Furniture with a large selection of mattresses, all sizes and comfort levels, with great prices, free local delivery and setup, and financing options. Route 21 Furniture. Open weekdays 9 to 5, Saturday 10 to 5, Sunday noon to 4. 724-737-2222 or Route21Furniture.com.
Route 21 Furniture, take the road to your perfect home.
Now, you don't have to travel too far for medical marijuana products. Go to Local Leaf in Scottdale for a wide variety of locally grown and locally sourced products, plus your questions answered on medical marijuana, qualifying medical conditions, or how to register for your medical card. Local Leaf by PHG off Route 119 in Scottdale, 412-417-4964. Online at localleafpa.com. Local Leaf, your medical marijuana dispensary with locally grown and locally sourced products in Scottdale.
Paul McCartney and Wings brings out of the break. I don't know if he's still with Wings. I don't know. Were Wings still around?
I think Wings has broken up, but here's how great he is. His solo career in Wings, I think just as good, if not better, than the Beatles. And if he just had the solo career in Wings without creating the greatest band of all time.
Right. Your second career doesn't usually top your first when it's as big as the Beatles.
Greatest musician of our lives.
I think you're right. No, absolutely. When it comes to
the genius,
all
Billy
types
Joel's
of
up
music.
there. Yeah.
And the innovation. People forget the innovation they brought to music.
Yeah.
Tracks and all that sort of thing. They were criticized at
They
it
also
for the time.
brought drugs and hedonism to America.
Yeah, that's right. There was no marijuana in the U.S. until the Beatles showed up. That all started.
And then Led Zeppelin took all of it.
That would make they took all of the drugs.
Keith Richards and Led Zeppelin took all the drugs. Window pane. Oh, yeah.
That would be a good poll. We have to poll on
Absolutely.
that. Do you think the Beatles brought drugs to America?
I'm glad they did. I'm glad Trump wasn't around to shoot them down like those Venezuelan boats.
Well, there's a difference, I think, between the two. Joining us right now on the WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital Talk Line, Senior Fellow for Public Affairs and Media Research with the AP NORC, the Associated Press NORC Center for Public Affairs Research, Marjorie Conley. Marjorie, thanks for joining us today. We always enjoy our conversations with you. They've been lighthearted at times, but this one's a pretty serious poll, talking naturally about President Trump's approval rating, but there's been a lot happening these days that can impact a poll, hasn't there?
Yes, thank you for inviting me. We just asked a few questions on this survey, and we put it in this field just before there was some talk about doing a voting to end the shutdown. So we put it in there before that. And, his approval ratings did not change, really, more than a point. But what we did find is a big change one question that we don't ask regularly is how he is handling the federal government, his management of the federal government. We last asked it in March, and then we asked it this last poll, and there was a 10-point drop. So that was one thing, and we also found that that drop was mainly driven by a change in how the Republicans felt about him. That the Republicans in March, 81% approved of how he was handling the federal government, and that's now 68%. It's still a majority, but it's dropped considerably.
Yeah, I think because politicians, and Congress especially, are so polarized. You always the folks who are low key and their quotes don't get a lot of attention. Obviously, you don't hear about. So I think most people, when they think of polls, if you're polling a Republican, you're polling a Democrat, they must be very far right or very far left. That's not the case when you're polling people.
I don't think so. I think most people are, we ask them what their party ID is, and we ask them if they say, well, I'm independent, and then if they say they're independent or they're nothing, we ask them, well, how do you lean? And so when we say Democrats, we include the people who lean one way or the other.
Right.
But, it doesn't mean that they're diehard Democrats or diehard Republicans.
Yeah. So this poll, again, sometimes you have very long polls, and then you said this one was just a few questions. How do you determine at times this is going to be a long poll? I mean, I think back in my days working for a political consulting firm, we would do the first poll out of the gate for a campaign would be called a benchmark survey. That would take 15 minutes at times. And, our callers would get through 14 and a half minutes, and the people would get sick and tired and hang up, and those results were thrown out and we'd start over. But obviously your polls aren't taking 15 minutes. How do you decide how long you want the poll to be? Based on the issue alone?
Yeah, a lot of it depends on what the Associated Press is interested in asking about. The last poll that we did in October, we had 9 releases from. So we asked a lot of questions about a lot of different subjects. We asked questions on Halloween, and we asked questions on daylight savings time, and also on politics and public policy. So it depends on what they're looking for. In this particular survey, they just wanted to sort of update what the public thought about the president and on these particular issues. Yeah. And I'm sure when you see the next survey that's coming out probably next month, it'll be a lot longer, and there'll be multiple releases coming out of it.
Yeah, and given the fact that now this budget situation finally seems to be resolved, at least through January, I think that's what the budget is determined. It's funding through January 30th, so we'll deja vu all over again. We'll do the whole thing again coming up, although it's going to be in the midst of primaries, at the beginning of primaries, I should say, on the midterm elections. So I have a feeling that's going to be handled very differently next time around. As we said in this past election, sometimes you're the bug and sometimes you're the windshield. This time the Republicans were the bug. They hit the windshield pretty hard in this election. A year ago, the Democrats were the bug. So we'll see what happens next year in that midterm election and how it affects polling. But you mentioned a moment ago surveys you did about Halloween and daylight savings time. There were topics we used to say were cafeteria food in nature. Yeah, people love to complain about daylight savings time. They love to complain about cafeteria food. They love to complain. So I'm guessing the response on daylight savings time system did not surprise you pollsters at AP North.
No, it didn't. In fact, this was the third time since I've been working with the AP North Center that we have asked about this particular issue. It's usually, right around this time of year, right before they change the clocks, and it's not that different each time. People do not like changing their clocks, but there's no consensus on whether they want to stay at standard time or daylight savings time. So that's one of the reasons I think that when the Congress has talked about, having a bill that makes it we're not going to change our clocks, they can't decide, how it's going to stay. I mean, there's 2 states that don't change, But for the most part, people do change. And then you forget about it when, after you fix the clocks for a little while, then you don't care so much. But at the time of when the clocks are changed, then it's like, oh, I hate this, It's suddenly so dark out,
Yeah, it comes as a surprise every year. I don't remember it getting dark last year. When did this happen? Yeah,
exactly.
If you would have pulled my grandmother, which would have been tough, a heck of a long-distance phone call, she would have said, why can't we just be on God's time? That's what she always used to say. Can't we have God's time? We never knew what God's time was. But you're right. It's one of those things every year. It's dark too early already. I don't understand it. When did this start up?
I know. I was thinking that the last couple of days. I was thinking, I don't remember it being so dark at this time of year. Of course it was last time.
We used to have a great. There's a local writer who's no longer with us. My gosh, we were doing interviews with him well into his 90s, and he used to talk about daylight savings time and how at one point. Between Pittsburgh and Weirton, West Virginia, which is not that far west of here, there were 11 different time zones because some towns would go to daylight saving times, some would not. Then the other ones would, and the other ones would go with another city. So literally the time would change that many times, literally in what is now a 40-minute drive. So it's sort of fascinating. It's not like there were different time zones like we have now, but there were different times because different towns decided this is what.
You have to constantly change your watch.
Right, and it was the railroads that finally said, you got to do something. We can't put schedules together when every city we go to has a different time than the one before. Sort of interesting. But the Halloween one was interesting. The holiday hasn't fully rebounded post-pandemic, your survey said, which I find interesting considering there are people who put displays in their front yards that look like they're having a yard sale anymore, these massive displays. So it hasn't bounced back. How did you determine that in a poll that people have not fully bounced back after the pandemic when it comes to Halloween spirit?
Well, we asked the question before the pandemic, and then we asked it during the pandemic, and now we're asking it again. And we found that, yes, a lot of people do celebrate. They do put, go out and trick or treat and put decorations in their front yards. And probably it depends on your neighborhood. I know some neighborhoods are covered with decorations, but other neighborhoods probably aren't so much. I think it maybe depends on the spirit of the neighborhood or how many children live there. I think that has a lot to do with it. But it says that the number, it's not a huge difference, but it isn't as big as it was before the pandemic, the number of people who say they're doing something for Halloween.
Well, you got to keep up with the Joneses. That's the key. I guess that would be an interesting poll. I've now broken the unwritten rule of doing radio interviews is that I change the topic without telling you ahead of time. Not change, but ask additional questions. So I appreciate you talking about daylight saving times and Halloween spirit. Do you ever give out in advance what your next poll will be, or do you keep that close to the vest?
We usually keep it, I think, close to the vest. I used to work for another company and a newspaper, and we never, ever let it slide what we were doing because, I guess, for reasons that you wouldn't want another competitor to know what we were polling on. I don't know, and we wouldn't even let you know that we were doing a poll. But the polls that we do for AP are generally on a schedule. The AmeriSpeak does polls twice a month, and we usually join either the first poll of the month or the second poll of the month. So it's on a schedule. But I can't. I'm not. First of all, we haven't finished writing the December poll yet, so I can't really tell you what's going to be on it. And but, I'm sure you'll think it's really fascinating when you see it.
Of course we will. Or even if we don't, on the air, we're going to say it's fascinating.
Yeah,
we know.
We're not above lying.
No, we're absolutely. We want you to come back on the show in the future, for heaven's sakes. We don't want you to put us on a blacklist. No. I always found it sort of fascinating, and I knew absolutely nothing about polling until I went with that. It started with that political consulting firm back in the mid-'80s. And the remarkable accuracy I was amazed at when we originally put poll in a congressional district 600 people, but after a while, you're not going to get that many people to take the call. And we could call 200 people and be within percentage points of a poll, of a result of a campaign in a congressional district. A little different than national polls. National polls, frankly, don't mean a whole lot. You got to go state by state. If nothing else, it helps you raise money if you're looking good in the polls, I suppose, at the national level.
For elections, yes,
Right,
because like a national poll on elections, it's the popular vote nationally.
Right.
So that's why, like when what was it, Trump versus Mrs. Clinton, those polls look, it said that she was going to win, but she actually did win the popular vote.
Right.
It didn't. The polls don't show you who's going to win each state. It just, and those some states were off, and that's why it was. People said, "Oh, the polls were all wrong," but some polls were not wrong. Also, if you do the polls well, which I'm sure when you found polls coming out really close, you sampled them well, you did them well, and that's when it comes out, as close as possible to what it should be.
Yeah, it's always sort of fascinating. I do a lot of political analysis and polling analysis on this station and others around the region, other parts of the country as well. And before that Trump-Clinton race, I had made my final prediction the days before. I said, I think I said, one's going to win the popular vote, one's going to win the Electoral College vote. And I said, which one? And trouble was I had it backwards. So if I don't give out that second part that I had it in reverse, otherwise it sounds pretty good.
It sounds very good,
yeah,
yes.
But I thought for sure that Clinton was going to win that Electoral College vote and Trump would win the popular vote. So much for that. But yeah, and that's something that you don't do with your AP NORC polls. You don't do candidate polling, correct? You don't.
What they call horse race polling.
Right,
No,
yeah.
we do not do that. So one of the things is we can't be proven wrong, of course, but it's just not something that they wanted to do. They do this. AP does work with other organizations to do like what they used to call exit polling, and it's a little different from exit polling because most people don't vote on election day. And so they're doing different ways of doing the voting, the election day voting. But we don't ask people, going for a year on or more, like who you're planning on voting for. We'll ask favorable, do you have a favorable opinion of the candidates? We'll ask some questions about them, but we won't ask people who they're going to vote for.
Yeah. We had a candidate once running statewide in Illinois, and the candidate was getting too involved. We used to tell in consulting, do two jobs, give speeches, raise money, let your staff do everything else. And at one point, we're getting the poll ready to go, and he said, I want to see a larger percentage of people. No, not in the urban areas, but the rural areas in this poll. I'm like, well, that defeats the purpose of a poll. We can't just weight it one way or the other. He said, well, I want to release the poll and make it look good. I said, well, nobody listens to a candidate's poll anyways. Polling is done for the candidate internally. A candidate releases a poll, nobody gives it any credibility. And certainly not if you're going to weight it to where he thought he'd get more votes.
Right. If you weight it off funny, yes, it's not a good idea.
If you want to do it that way, I'll just give you the results right now. We don't have to do a poll. That's he didn't win, as you might guess.
Yeah. And when I worked at the Times, we put very little credence in polls that were done by the candidates.
No, it's pointless.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes certain reporters always wanted to use them, and occasionally you could say something, but we wouldn't be like, oh, yes, this poll says this because it was done for the candidate.
Yeah, very, very few candidates release polls that say they're losing.
Yes, exactly.
Unless it's very close or something. Yeah, but then it's not news. That doesn't make a nonsense sense. It's it's like what a shock that the candidate says nice things about themselves, and you would hope they'd use somebody else. Well, we always enjoy our conversations with you. Marjorie Connolly joins us on the Afternoon Drive Show, late edition, Senior Fellow, Public Affairs and Media Research with AP NORC. Folks want to get more information and follow your polls or sign up to get the info. Where should they go?
It's apnorc.org.
That's easy enough. APNORC, N-O-R-C.
APNORC.org.
Thank you, Nick, for that input. I knew you'd have input over there.
Mork for Mork. That was Robin Williams.
Robin Williams.
Right. Mork and Mindy.
We'll do a poll on that.
I'm coming alive here. I'm on fire at the end of this interview.
There we go. We'll quiz you on that coming up in a moment, Nick, after this. So, hey, Marjorie, thanks so much for joining Nick and me. I guess I better throw his name is now that he said something.
I get credit.
It's
it's very nice talking to you. I hope you have a good evening.
You too, dear. Thanks,
Marjorie.
All right.
I think Marjorie's done with us.
I don't know. I was allowed to be a part of that interview. I forgot my mic was on.
You could jump in. What do I care?
Oh, please. Yeah, exactly. At
Heck,
this
we
point-
had a 12-year-old here once here. I had him do the weather. So.
Oh, I'm sure he was better than both
of
of us.
course, it was. I think it was the nephew of the general manager. So I had no
I
choice.
see. Yeah, no choice.
Yeah,
I'm sure the
I
kids
think
now
he did it better than me.
The kids now at WOR in New York
or something like that.
Yeah.
Or WCBS in New York. Oh, wait,
Yeah.
they don't exist anymore. Actually, they exist, but it's an ESPN station.
Wow, it's
Isn't
not
that
news.
sad?
That's amazing. Oh, it's so sad.
Another nationally owned company, a station owned by a national company.
Odyssey, right?
I think it's Odyssey.
Yeah, well, they're doing a great job.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. I'm glad I didn't invest in them. They got delisted. When your stock prices drop so low, you're getting delisted.
It's not great.
That's a sign of things not going well. Well, we're going to wrap up hour 3 coming up. We're going to take a break right now. When we come back, Nick and I, believe it or not, will drone on aimlessly.
Well, never.
Right up until the 8 p.m. news, and then America's Best Music following that. Stick around.
When you are looking to make some extra cash for your aluminum cans, visit Cherokee Recycling, where aluminum can is king. Cherokee Recycling is open Monday through Friday 9 to 4:30 and Saturdays 8 to 12 noon, closed Sundays and holidays. Give Marcus or Braggs a call today, 724-439-3228 for Cherokee Recycling, where recycling makes the most sense.
439-2323. For 24-hour emergency service, call us when you need. We're Fayette's Heating and Air Conditioning, your service company.
Be prepared for bone-chilling winter weather. Have Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning install a Bryant high-efficiency furnace in your home to replace that old worn-out system you now have. Choose Bryant's Plus 90 gas furnace or other quality heating system to keep yourself and your family warm and toasty this winter. Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning will also keep your present furnace running at peak efficiency with their 15-point safety check and cleaning. Call Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning today for your appointment. 724-439-2323. That's Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, your Bryant dealer, Route 119 north of Uniontown, located near Laurel Mall.
Call Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, 439-2323, 439-2323, 439-2323, 439-2323.
Hello, Uniontown and Fayette County. This is attorney Erica Dowd of Quattrini Law Group. Are you a veteran suffering from a service-related disability or disease? Not all injuries are obvious or happen quickly. We've helped hundreds of veterans with conditions like PTSD, neuropathy, heart conditions, and cancers get the benefits they deserve, even when their conditions didn't start until many years after service. VA benefits can be paid for any condition that could have been caused or worsened by your service, from Agent Orange exposure, Camp Lejeune water exposure, burn pits, or physical injuries in the service. If you were disabled from your military service, we can help you. The consultation is free and no obligation. Call us today at 1-888-534-6016 or Google Quattrini Law Group. Again, this is attorney Erica Dowd from Quattrini Law Group, reaching out to veterans like...
Are you looking for personalized health care you can trust? At Montgomery Medical, they're accepting new patients.
Hi, I'm Dr. Betty Thomas. Having a primary care provider means better overall health, from preventative care to managing chronic conditions. We're here to support you every step of the way. That's right. Hi, I'm Jenna Lutzka, a physician assistant. Plus, we have same-day appointments and walk-in same-day care available too. We're here for you.
Join the Montgomery Medical family today by calling 724-569-8100 to schedule your appointment. A family tradition of family medicine.
Stop by and check out the 1908 restaurant and bar at the Uniontown Country Club. And while you're at it, also check out your favorite item from Chef Steven's new menu. And starting on October 6th, there will be new fall hours for the restaurant. It will be Thursday from 4 to 9 p.m., Friday and Saturday noon to 9 p.m., and the restaurant will be closed Sunday through Wednesday. If you want to join the team at the Uniontown Country Club, I got some good news for you. They're still hiring, and you can submit your application 3 different ways. Call 724-550-4258, extension 4. You can email Caitlin at uniontowncountryclub.com, or you can stop by 25 Bailey Lane in Uniontown to pick up an application. Hey, there's still time to get some golf in before the weather turns cold, so stop in and get some rounds in while enjoying the beautiful autumn scenery on the foothills of the Laurel Mountains. Call 724-550-4258 for golf or restaurant information. The Uniontown Country Club hopes to see you soon.
WMBS.
And that's a wrap for the Afternoon Drive Show, the late edition on your local station, WMBS Uniontown. I'm Doug Saltzman. That's Nick Barczyk. Chilly night out there, folks. Right now, it feels like